Some of you guys can stand over here if you want. I'll stand.
I got some in my office. I'm gonna close it.
No, we just try to get these big ones there.
Does somebody want to come sit up here? I don't mind standing.
Any ladies want this chair, please. This one too.
On this side. My mom's is just
We'll call this meeting to order. It's August 11th, 2026, 9 a.m. Commissioners Courtroom at 162 West 1st Street, Trinity County Courthouse, Groveland, Texas. Here's prayer.
Yes, sir, you will. Bow your heads this morning. Gracious Heavenly Father, we approach your throne, so thankful, God, for your love and mercy and grace extended to us. Today we ask you to be with us as we conduct the affairs of this county, to let us do it to the best of our ability. We ask you to bless our county, our state, and our nation, and we ask these favors in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Before we start this public forum, it's like a crowd in here, but I wanted y'all to know that when we was talking about, I knew that y'all had, everybody was taking a lot of heat over the ag extension office over there. We had no intentions, and we still don't have any intentions of closing down the 4-H. Ms. Tullis will still have an office and she can work remote. Deborah's gonna be there, and that was all that was talked about in that period. But I just wanted to, if y'all still need to talk, you can. Okay. Smith. You got 3 minutes.
Thank you, gentlemen, for allowing me to make comments today. This is the first time I've ever been to Commissioner's Court. Thank you. It's the only time that I thought maybe I had input that would be valuable. So I do want to remind you that I am a 4th generation farmer rancher from Trinity County. My family started in 1873. We still live and farm on the same farmland.
Yes.
So I assure you that my love for this little part of the world called Trinity County, I share with you. I also share with you the value of extension and what it can do for Trinity County. Our revenue generators, things that bring money into the county, generate money, not bring it in, but generate money, are cows and trees. That's it. I mean, that's agriculture. That's what we do. We are agriculture. I am proud to have had the opportunity to serve in agriculture for over 50 years in my career. Part of that was with extension, part of it was with industry, but and now I'm retired as private. So I've made the gamut. But let me just encourage you to look very closely at what we do in extension. And I say we, I'm not in extension now, but I think we are all part of that program. If we are in agriculture and we represent agriculture, we are. So look at what we do. What do we have? We have agriculture, we have our youth. And that is where Trinity County needs to be. Now, we talk about industry, and Trinity County has 194, I think, businesses that actually hire employees in the county. I think that's right. I looked up the numbers right. And we've got 14,000 in population. So that's one business for every 72 people. Now, what does that mean for our neighbors? Our neighbors, Houston County, Polk County has one. They've got a lot more businesses, but they still have one business for about 62. So we're running pretty close, about 68% of businesses. My kinfolks, uncles, cousins, and all have served as county commissioners. My uncle, of course, David served here for many years on this commissioner's court. Budgets have never been easy. As long as I can remember, budgets have always been tight. We've never been flush in Trinity County. And I hate to say that, but that's where we are. But I hope that I can say, let's generate more progress. And if there is something that's not working, let's fix it. Let's go up instead of down. Trinity County needs to go up. And the only way we go up is by supporting those things that generate revenue, agriculture, and those things that are our future, our young people. So that's, I could go on and on about this, but you guys have to realize the value of leadership in our young people. And when we look at people like our incoming high state Senator Trent Ashby, I knew Trent when he was 9 years old, showing dairy cows, but that's not the important part. The important part was he was also participating in leadership contests. And that's where that's the strength. It's not whether we show a cow or a sow. It's about whether we raise kids. So, gentlemen, we hear complaints all the time. We hear complaints. I know this is going to surprise you, but I have heard complaints about the commissioners in the commissioner's court. I know that surprises you some. All I ask is that we verify the complaints, see if they're true, act on it. If there needs fixing, let's fix it. If not, let's promote it. We talk about 14,000 people in Trinity County. Well, there's 1,400 of those, about 10% of them, are in this 9 to 18 bracket. That's the 4-H bracket. We've got 1,400. I contend 90% of those would benefit from being in 4-H. My question is, how many of us have invited some of that 1,400 to be in 4-H? If we haven't, we're missing the boat. I thank you for your time, and if I can ever be of benefit to this county or to this court, thanks, Carl. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sheila Harris?
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. I'm Sheila Harris. I'm the District Extension Administrator with Texas A&M Active Life Extension Service housed out of Overton. So I just want to come this morning to let you know that it would be detrimental to this county to close the Active Life Extension office. This county has around 200 4-H members, and I know Mr. Smith just talked about the youth, but all the clientele here reap the benefits, whether it's adults or youth, of Active Life's extension programs. I know there has been some talk about keeping the agents and let them, to work remotely, but that's just not going to work. They've got to have a place where 4-H parents and other clientele can come when it's validation time, when it's time to enter for livestock major shows, whether they're county shows, whether it's just any kind of 4-H contest. We're about to end this 4-H year. Trinity County is ending with about 200 4-H club members. So every September 1st starts a new 4-H a year. And so parents and youth will be coming in to get re-enrolled in 4-H. And so I just hope you will consider maintaining the office with the agents. Both Stacy and Deborah, both of them do a wonderful job working with youth, Deborah with adults. And just a reminder, Deborah that serves as a health agent, that position was made available several years ago with the support of Representative Trent Ashby. And so Deborah is at no cost to the county. She's fully state funded, but serves the clientele here of your county with health programs and other things here in the county. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, ma'am.
And here are some letters of support I just want to leave here from various people. Thank you.
Judge, before we get to the next one, I missed the last meeting, and just from my understanding, no one's talking about shutting down the county extension agent's office or getting rid of the county extension agent?
No.
Okay.
No, it wouldn't even brought up.
Is it just?
And Deborah doesn't do it either.
Okay.
And we have enough volunteers, I was told, and when you sat in that meeting with us, Mr. Harris, you know that it's a lot of volunteers there that support the young people in the act. We're not trying to disturb that at all. We just needed to trim back some, but it was had some issues. She knows what that was. She sent them a letter over it. This is not our first round, and several meetings already, and it just needs to be corrected. So that's all. Go ahead.
Is there any more on this subject? Is that the only two?
No. James Alford.
Morning. I believe the last time I was before the commission, I was trying to get a job, but I'm not, please, I'm not this time. Thank you for allowing me an opportunity to visit with you. And I was pleased to hear what Judge Moore was saying, and visit with some of you, court members, saying the same, commission saying the same thing about the importance of having and maintaining our extension office here. I came here when I had a secretary that was 2 to 3 days a week, and that's not fun. And it was like a breath of fresh air when I finally got her home for 5 days. It allowed me to get out, visit with people. It allowed me to get out of that office, period. So I'm just asking each of you to consider that as you make your decision as it relates to the extension office. I like to think I've had a little, or the 4-H program had a little to do with Bubba, Marissa, and Brandon. Y'all are too young, y'all don't have children at that age. But I'm sure they may not say it was 4-H that got them there, but if somebody asked me about those young people, I would say yes, I had them in my 4-H program. And that's just very gratifying to me. You were still too young.
Yeah, I think I was just kind of split in the middle.
Okay. Anyway,
Yeah.
but thank y'all, and I really would appreciate it if you would take that into consideration as you make your decision. Thank you.
On the stage, Mr. Alfred, we really appreciated you being there all the years.
Well, thank
You've done a
you.
great job.
Thank you.
So is that the thing, is they're just talking about the secretarial position?
Yeah.
That's the only cut that they're talking? You're saying as a county extension agent, that having a full-time secretary allows you to have a wider
Yes, sir.
net?
Yes, sir. Yes. And with today's technology, back then we did in pencil and paper, with phone, but now everything is computerized. And trying to juggle your time and visiting with whether it's producers or whether it's with the youth, and then having to file and send in a lot of the information, that can be time consuming. And yes, to have someone in there full time during the Thank you.
Kim Laylock?
Hey, Marlon. Sorry. Backup babysitter couldn't keep me today.
That's all right.
And put my glasses on, so I can see. Since I'm here today because I believe that we should need to take a serious look at what our county stands to lose if we do away with the county extension agent. I know y'all said that y'all weren't going to do that, but I kind of heard differently in the meeting. This isn't a simple position, office, a title, or a deadline. It's about our kids. If we eliminate this position, we risk taking opportunities that have helped generations of young people in our country learn, grow, lead, and discover what they are capable of. When many people hear 4-H, they think about county fairs, they think about livestock projects, ribbons, and competition. But 4-H is much more than a county fair. 4-H teaches responsibility, it teaches preservation, it teaches young people how to set goals through failure, care for something beyond themselves, and take pride in what they accomplish. It gives the kids a place to belong. It gives them adults who believe in them. It gives them opportunities to develop leadership skills and confidence that they will carry with them long after they graduate high school. For some 4-Hers, kids may be the place where they discover their passion. For others, it may be the place where they find their voice. And for some, it may simply be the place where they know someone is counting on them and where they learn that they can count on themselves. Those lessons don't disappear when the county fair ends. Sorry, get nervous. They become part of who these young people are. Our county extension agent is an important part of making those opportunities possible. The agent provides coordination, guidance, education, support, and a connection between our young people, volunteers, and our 4-H program. If we remove that support, we have to ask ourselves, what happens to the kids who depend on these programs? What happens to the volunteers who give their time? What happens to the families who rely on those opportunities for their children? Sorry. And most important, what happens to the future of our county when we stop investing in our young people? Understand that budgets are difficult. Understand that decisions have to be made. But we also have to recognize that some things are investments, not expenses. Investing in our kids is an investment in our future of this county. The young people in 4-H today are tomorrow's employees, business owners, farmers, teachers, community leaders, parents, and volunteers. The skills they are learning now will shape the community we live in for years to come. So I'm asking everyone to look beyond the immediate cost. Look at the kids. Look at the opportunities they could lose. Look at the volunteers who have built these programs. Look at the families who have poured their lives or their time and energy into 4-H. Look at the young people who are learning responsibility, leadership, competence, and resilience. And then ask whether eliminating our county extension agent is truly a cost-saving measure or whether it's a decision that could cost our children and our community far more in the long run. Our kids deserve opportunities, our volunteers deserve support, and our county deserves a strong 4-H program. 4-H is more than just a county fair. It's an investment in our children, and our children are an investment in our future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Judge, is that all of it? I got something I want to say, and being raised in Trinity, I love Trinity. Don't misunderstand me. That's my home. I was in the FFA, I never was in 4-H. But when I become commissioner in 2013, I think one of the greatest achievements was to get involved out there at Friday with J.E. Anderson and the 4-H and the FFA kids. Apple Springs, Centerville, Little Centerville, and Groveton, they do so much with these kids. I've tried to get the superintendent in Trinity to get more involved over here and see how y'all do it. My hat goes off to them, and I would never be for cutting 4-H. That was never intentions. We've got some problems in the office, internal. I think we're gonna get that straightened out, but that would never happen as long as I'm sitting here. 4-H is a great deal. If people don't understand, or maybe you do, those kids are learning. J.E. made those kids go out there, and they still do it today, and he's gone. But he had those kids to go up there and tell their name and what group they were with. And then he had them to tote the items around. That's showing leadership. Something else that I've noticed. And I go to this county fair, and I go to the buyers group. These kids over here are a lot more respectful than some others that I know of. It's teaching these kids that, you know, I love these little schools. I think they get more one-on-one attention, and they have a principal that still has a board if it's necessary, and I agree with that. And I'm just very, very proud of these 3 little schools over here. And I will never be for doing anything to FFA or 4-H except promote them. And you got my word, Mr. Kenneth. That's the way I feel about it. I'm very passionate about that. And it's because of what I've seen at Friday, Texas, and at this fair. These kids are making things. Everybody's not going to college. You still got to have plumbers and electricians and builders and all of that. So they're learning stuff at these schools. Mr. Fortenberry was the greatest ag teacher, and I'm not taking away from who's over there now, but he was so involved with these kids. That's about all I got to say, but I just really can't say enough about the 4-H. It's a great organization, and I'd never be for shutting it down.
And I'll second everything you said. In the meeting last week, the judge made a recommendation, an idea. We're looking at that we have to cut some things. I mean, we're going to get that in a little bit, but it was never brought up in the meeting. It was only talking about, you know, personnel over there, and never talking about getting rid of the agent. I had A&M, people from A&M call me and contact me about it, and I explained that to them privately. A guy that knows me from our conferences, Peter McGill, called me and asked me what was going on. He said, this really ain't my area, but I was asked to call you if I knew anybody in Trinity County, and I thought of you. So he called me, and I explained to him what was going on, what was said in court, and there's no hiding it. We've got to cut things. And after we get through cutting, we may still have to raise taxes. And, you know, I don't know the answer to that. But it was never our intentions to do anything with 4-H. It was never said in court that we was getting rid of the agent.
But this is what Facebook does.
So that's my 2 cents on that.
Well, my children did show 4-H, ag, and all that, and I am a strong supporter of 4-H and FFA. I would never be in favor of doing away with the program that enhances our children, teaches them work ethic, teaches them responsibility, teaches all of that. I think that that's probably one of the best programs that we have to offer our young people is 4-H and FFA. So I would never, ever vote to get rid of anything like that. So I want you to hear from me as well. I support what they say because it's true. I remember when Mr. Alford was in office over there, and he asked about my son yesterday. My son still remembers Mr. Alford, but remembers all the years that he showed. So rest assured that we're not getting rid of 4-H. We're not getting rid of that extension office over there. So y'all just understand. Maybe there's a misunderstanding or wording, but we're just trying to do what's best for our county, and that's not cutting that department. So I'm telling you, we will back 4-H and FFA. So, anything to say?
I'll chime in, just kind of echo what Mike said. I love 4-H, I love FFA. I'm a member of Farm Bureau, I'm on the board, so is Mr. Smith. Never once, I wasn't at the last meeting, but speaking with these men, never once did anybody want to do away with 4-H, a program, or the extension office. It was just some rearranging of personnel. And I think he's kind of going around that Facebook, he's giving you half the story, maybe even a quarter of the story, and blowing it up. People get angry, and they come here, but you know, we call these people. Mr. Smith called me, Mr. Alford, I think, called the judge, and I think everyone understands once you talk to the people that are involved, what happens. So if you have questions, become involved and call them. No one up here is going to cut 4-H or FFA. We want to encourage agriculture and youth, you know, involvement in that in Trinity County.
Anyone want to speak about FFA or 4-H or anything?
Sir?
Does anybody else want to speak?
We don't have anything.
We don't have
Before we move on, I just want to speak a little bit about my weekend, getting phone calls all weekend about Facebook posts, Facebook bashing, Commissioner Ford. And I don't know if anybody's here other than 4-H, but just hear about our sheriff's department, our sheriff putting out a grant opportunity that the government put out to build or to add on to our jail. And I was 100% in agreement with it because, and I think the whole court was, because it was said on there that the judge failed to sign it. We got paperwork, we signed the grant the first round. Never once on Facebook did it say what kind of jail it was going to be. It's for immigration. It's for a detention center for immigration. So they presented it to us as we was going to get $5 million. It was a reimbursement style. You know, all the bells and whistles that they could do over here to help us out with this big contract we signed with Angelina County. So when the paperwork was submitted to our grant writer, it was somewhat different what they told us in court. So she had some reservations about it. She called me personally and talk to me about it. She had issues with it. She got an email from over there submitting paperwork saying it was going to be $12 million and not $5 million. And some other issues that she may get up in a little while and explain that. But she also had an email where it said from the sheriff's department over there that submitting all of this, and the very last sentence says, please do not share this. So that's red flags right there. So I went personally 3 times and went to sit down with the sheriff, and he can vouch for this. The very first time, it was me and him in his office. And I told him about her reservation. I said, Sheriff, can you please contact her and go sit down and talk with her? Because she don't think we fit this criteria. And I told him about the email she got. She felt uncomfortable about it. So we left it at that. I asked him, can we house Trinity County inmates, our everyday inmates that they arrest, in the same section, in the same building as the government's going to pay for, add-on dollars? He was going to get with his chief, talk with him, because the chief did a lot of homework on it. That's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. He did a lot of homework on it. So the second time, the sheriff called me last Monday. He called me and said, hey, can you come sit down with the chief and let him explain this to you? We missed out on the first round, but our grant coordinator that does this had reservation time. That's why we missed out on the first round. It wasn't because of lack of the judge or the commissioner's court at all, because we got the contract where we signed it. All of us, unanimously, we signed it.
The court did sign it. Stephanie came and talked to me. We went and talked to the sheriff's department and said, hey, look, since the things are not as they were presented in commissioner's court, let's just reapply. Right? And so that's where the commissioners didn't say no. So we just need to reapply.
We went to sit down. I went to sit down with the chief, and the sheriff was in there, and we was talking, and I said, hey, and they said, man, we've got to try to get this second round. And I said, I'll tell you what, show me in the grant anywhere where we can house our inmates in the same facility that the government gives us money to build. That was the second meeting I had. He was going to look for it. He was going to try his best to look for it, see if he can find anything. And I said, I'll tell you what, you give me that paperwork, and I'll take it to Commissioner's Court, and I'll be the first one that I'll try to sell it to all of them in Commissioner's Court. Because I think it's a good idea. We know we have a burden over there. $335,000 more than we got budgeted for, but we had to do it, in my opinion. So we rocked on. Friday, we had a budget hearing. After the budget hearing, the sheriff wanted me to come meet with him. We sat down again and we talked about this grant and some other things about Commissioner's Court. But I asked again, show me where we can house them in there, because we're being told no, we can't. And so I went to sit down with the grant coordinator yesterday, and she gave me here's the contract we signed. Everybody can see that. All 5 of us signed it unanimously. She gave me some paperwork where she sent an email to the chief on July 10th. And I'm not going to read it all, but it says prohibited populations. You cannot utilize the grant-funded beds or expansions to house citizens, legal permanent residents, for general local inmates. We do not meet the federal immigration enforcement criteria outlined. So that tells you right there. And I asked the sheriff on the third day that I met with him, if we can't house these in there, why would you, as the sheriff, won't even want to deal with it? I can think of several different reasons why, if it's a detention facility, I know they deal with a few immigrants in the past few months they've dealt with them, but you're talking about if other counties get full up to have these detention centers, they're going to transport them here in our county. Why would, and we have to staff it, and they have to, there's nobody, the government's not sending nobody, we have to staff it.
There's some addition to that.
Okay.
He didn't consider all,
Just-
I consider everything.
Okay, well,
First of
let me
all,
talk.
That's with somebody.
Let me talk and I-
They
you
pay you
can
like
talk.
$150, $300 a day people, I'm gonna finish. This is not necessarily, this is not
Let's let him
necessarily.
finish.
I'm going to.
Okay.
But I'm gonna talk to because
You
this
can
is
talk
my
when we
dream.
get through.
It's all right here, Sheriff, and I hate
It's
to
all
say-
incredibly true. Where's Michael King? Where's the guy that put all this
Hey,
together?
just let me finish for a second, and then y'all can argue and fight.
I'm not gonna argue, I will thank
Well,
you.
the facts are here. So, why would we want to bring in other immigrants into our county? Years ago, way before my time, way before I was born, or probably half before anybody was born in here, they were gonna bring TDC over here, or was gonna do that. And maybe some of y'all remember that, and the whole county went crazy and didn't want it, because when you bring in outside criminals to a county, what does that bring? It brings people to visit, and/or maybe live, and/or maybe the sheriff's office has to figure out who's stealing everything around the city, because when they leave to go out of town, they're stealing everything. So that's why it was important to me, and I believe it was important to the court, that if we can't use this facility, why would we want to staff it? Why would we want to put it on county property? And there's an argument there about, and maybe in 5 years, another person gets elected and higher up in government that goes away with the program, whatever, and we get the building. There is that argument. But there's also argument of, if we're getting 12 million, she's found, and she can explain it, we have to put up 12 million. Not just on a reimbursement, not just like my J.D. Price project that I taught, so I sat down with her yesterday. I spend $50,000 a rock on J.D. Price, the U.S. Forest Service gives it to me. You have to put the whole 12 million up, and you got to show them you got it. So what do? We go across the street and borrow 12 million from the bank, and then we rock on and build $6 million worth of it, and we get reimbursed for $6 million, and then we build some more, and something changes, elections or whatever changes in the government, and we're over. They knock it all off, and we're stuck for the rest of the loan. There is issues, and when we went through that jail bond, those questions asked 100 million times, that is there grants out there? The sheriff said no. He's found this. I don't believe it fits. She don't believe it fits. So, but it said on. Everybody that called me this weekend said, "Are you crazy, Tommy? The sheriff found a grant to build us a jail, and you're not going to be for it?" I said, "No, that's not the case." And I explained it just like I'm explaining to everybody in here and everybody online. So that is 100% the truth. I got emails and everything to back it up. So, and she can talk if she wants. The sheriff can say something, but that's my 2 cents on it.
So I do want to address part of this, because first of all, I have never said that let's take the money. I said let's apply for it. Let's apply for it, because we don't know what any of it is until we get it. We don't have to take it. We do not have to accept the funds, but we're not going to start the research going forward to find out if this is going to fit or not. I have talked to several people in the federal government. We have gotten letters from people in the federal government supporting this. If they bring detainees here, that's like for just a couple days at the most before they ship them out. So that's not going to be like they're going to be here forever, number one. That's if they did. Yes, this is a grant primarily done out of the immigration crisis in this country. We are taking people. We took one out of custody the other day that lives in this county, right over here inside of Groveton, that was sexually assaulting a child for years, and he's here and he had guns. We need federal assistance. We've been working with the federal government. We're going to, especially when it comes to violent criminals like this. As it was explained to me, and by the ICE agent that was here, yes, you can keep the immigration people in here in the same jail with them. If they do send some immigrants here, they would pay us additional for that. They would be renting the space. You would be getting a contract. But I can't go into all those details because I don't know them to be 100% fact. That's why I said, and I have said time and time again, let's apply for it. If they award the grant, then we can have this argument. Is it going to be anything? But I am looking for solutions other than sending $1 million a year to another county. I can't control the cost of the jails. I cannot control the judges having court and how often they have court. But I do have an issue if I cannot get these people to court. If you cut the jail out, which is what y'all are talking about doing, which I agree, that jail needs to go. It needed to go a long time ago. I've got no problem with that, but you have to have a backup plan. We talked about this last time we talked about cutting the jail, okay? We have a duty to the people. It's plain and simple. The sheriff's office is short-staffed. The state of Texas says you should have 15 deputies per 10,000 people. It's not a mandate, it is a recommendation for safety purposes. We're nowhere near that. I'm not asking for more deputies. I understand we're going to give 2 up because Groton said they don't want it anymore because they think the county should just provide it for free. We'll do that. We don't have a choice. But it's going to make it shorthanded for the people in Groton. It's going to make it shorthanded for the people in the county if we start cutting deputies and if we start cutting this jail out. I mean, you're going to have to send a deputy over to Lufkin every time somebody's arrested. We don't have the manpower for that.
I agree with everything you're saying.
So,
Everything.
But my point about this grant is, and I didn't lie about the grant because the phone call I got was that the judge is not going to sign it. I called his office several times, and I called his cell phone, and he has yet to answer my call or return it. All I want is somebody to communicate with me. I've tried. I've asked everybody to come to my office. No one wants to come sit down and talk.
Well, that's where we signed.
It did not get sent though. That's my point. So this is $3.8 billion up there, and we just found out about this grant like 2 weeks before we even come over here and try to apply for it. We don't know all the details. All we know is they said, and I've had 3 or 4 of the sheriffs call me and said, y'all need to apply for this because you won't be able to put your index in
You
there.
also gotta have an engineer and a budget, is what she said.
You do, but that's, if
And
you get
you-
awarded the
you
grant,
said-
then you start looking for that. That's what I'm saying. If they say you can have the money, then let's start doing research to see if we're gonna do the legwork. Y'all don't gotta do it. Just, if they approve it, then I'm not gonna say take the money. I'm gonna say, let's see if it fits. If it don't fit, we'll pass it on and I'll start screaming higher to the state. Folks, the state and the federal government's gonna have to fix this problem. Every state, every county in the state is having an issue, and we're boasting we got a $30 billion surplus. Has anybody on this court called your state representatives and all that and said, hey, can we get some funding?
Talk to them all the time.
Okay, my point is, no one's communicating that with me. I'm doing it as well. But I cannot provide the services we need if we're having to run over to Angelina every time we get somebody in jail. It's not going to work. And you cut another deputy, it's going to put the strain on the county even harder. If you're talking about overtime, we're already having an overtime situation. Cutting staff's not going to make that overtime better.
All right, 2 things, Sheriff. It would have been a whole lot easier, in my opinion. You were upset Friday, and if somebody, I understand.
I'm upset when you start talking about cutting jobs,
Can
yes.
you let me talk? I'll let you talk this whole
Go
time.
ahead.
Would it have been a lot easier to say, on Facebook, that, well, I met with the county commissioner 3 times, and we're working on it. I met with the grant coordinator, and my chief's
I went
been doing all
over
this.
there. I walked across the street, went to your office.
I'm not talking about that.
And say that, and say, we're working on a grant. We're working on it. Wouldn't it be nice if we had a grant that the government paid for? Instead of saying, all what you did, the judge denied the first round. We lost it because Commissioner's Court.
I didn't say we lost the Commissioner's Court. I said he didn't send it in. He didn't sign it. I was told that he wasn't going to sign it. He chose not to because he didn't like the. That's fine. I don't have a, but he didn't tell me to talk to him about it.
At least you'll be able to fix it
But you're not the one that's got to sign it, he does.
He already
All
signed
I'm
it the
asking
first time
is-
when Michael King said the wrong
Did it get
stuff.
sent? Well.
Where's Michael King?
That's,
He's not
Where
there.
is he? Bring him in here. He's the one that
Don't-
presented
I'm not
last
talking to
time.
you right now.
He's the one that told Commissioner's Court all this stuff.
Okay.
And misled
And I
them.
am, no one was
He
misled.
did mislead them.
We talked about
We
5
talked
million,
about
now
him
we're talking
misleading
12
them.
million.
We said, let's reapply.
So, my question is are we gonna send this?
We don't fit. Just, I asked you to go sit down and talk.
I did go sit down and talk to her, did I not? Okay, we did sit down and talk. And again, there is this is a fluid situation. It's just like the SB 22 money. The SB 22 money is a It's, the rules change after they awarded it. The rules are gonna change with this grant.
We're gonna recess for 15 minutes.
We'll be right back.
Scroll a bit.
You said no one brings over a car, me and Tommy both go.
5, receive quarterly report of the veterans.
Good
Service
morning.
officer.
It's quarterly report, but this will be my last one for this fiscal year. So you guys have it all in front of you. If you don't have a lot of questions, I'm just going to kind of burn through it. We used up all of the 50,000 pretty much on the veterans this year. We met our goals. We actually went over as far as how many we would serve with grant funds. We got approved and are working out the kinks and details for the 2 new grants we got approved for, totaling $289,000. Stephanie and myself just went and received the big check at the big check ceremony in Lufkin at DebtCog, so that was really exciting.
Did you announce how much it was?
$289,000.
Good job.
Yeah, well, we tried. We got, for those who don't know, we have received, as a county, 3 times now the financial assistance grant. We got that again this year. That's $189,000. And if you'll go down a little bit, I did mention that we will hire an assistant that will only, well, it'll just be in my office, but that will help manage the grant, but that will be from part of the grant fund. So as long as we're talking about the budget, this does not affect that. That'll be from these grant funds. And then, but we also got Housing for Texas Heroes, and that's a new grant that the county has never gotten. So that's really exciting. We're hoping to assist 10 veterans or spouses with that $100,000. So super exciting. That will start on September 1st. I will start taking applications the last week of August. So if you know somebody, tell them to call me. If I don't answer, leave a message. If I don't call back, tell them to call me again. I am busy. Just keep calling. And then I do need to check with Tommy and Holton. Last year, you helped with confirming large purchases. This year will be a little different. We'll have to kind of work that out. But like with the Housing for Texas Heroes, there will be larger lump sum purchases. If you guys still want to be a part of that.
Absolutely.
Okay. And then I do want to just call out, since my last time here with you guys, we have lost within the county 11 veterans. So, of course, keep their families in your thoughts. And then, if you'll just allow me 2 seconds, we had a lot, so many veterans and their families moving into this county. I don't know if you guys are aware of that. I wouldn't be probably unless I was in this office. Veterans are uniquely positioned to live somewhere that they've never lived, and many of them kind of just pick a spot on the map that meets their financial needs, and they're okay with living somewhere they've never lived. We are very rural. It's low cost to live here. And so I know it's already gotten heated, but this is live streamed, and I don't know if any of them are here right now. I don't see any, but for everybody here, I want us to be a good representation of this county. I'm so very proud to be a veteran and to be from this county and to be back in this county. And I do believe that we have so much to offer. And I just want us to keep that in mind, that there are really valuable people that are coming here because we do have something to offer. And I just want us to keep that in mind, not just for the veterans, for everybody, but maybe especially for them, because that's who I serve. So.
If we get more people, can the grants get bigger?
Yeah, possibly.
That's what
Some of the other
asking.
counties got
One question I had, when you took over, we were having y'all still buying groceries and helping the veterans, and we were having a lot of problems with the veterans calling in wanting to give peanut butter instead of smoothie or whatever, and we was having a lot of problems. Is that settled down?
Yeah, well, I'm me, so I kind of just, this is what it is.
Well, I haven't heard anything about
That was one particular guy. I don't think you had other.
Well, I think it was more
Well,
than
it
just
is,
one.
and I think, sometimes, you just have to be sort of, I mean, this is not, you don't just get to use the program willy-nilly, you know. This is a needs-based program. It's not totally based on income. If a veteran or a family member comes to us and they're in a financial crisis, it can happen to any of us. And if they come with that, then they get in, and sometimes there are people who don't get into the program and don't get to use the program, you know, and that can upset some people. We're limited on what we can use, and sometimes, to explain for people who don't know, if you give me a grocery list, I will put in what you ask for, but the grocery store, between the time I put in that order and the time you get it, could run out, or they could run out of that brand. And I just have to be very clear. Also, I got with Colton, and now, this is a difference. Now, they will sign an agreement where they agree to be respectful of not only this office, but everybody who works for the county. And if they don't, then they don't get to be a part of the program. I will respect them, they will respect us, and this is a part of that.
Well, I think it's great, and I've heard nothing but praises for you. Of course, your hero is still telling everybody about you getting the tombstone for a veteran that has been dead for how many years?
Quite a long time.
And in another state. She went beyond the call of duty and got a tombstone shipped to another state for a guy. So I've heard nothing but praises. Thank you. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Governor.
Okay, number 6, discuss an act on acceptance of motor vehicle crime prevention grant. How are you today?
Good, how are you, gentlemen? So in March, we applied for the Motor Vehicle Crime Prevention Grants Award, and I had to go to some training for them. I went to their conference, but at the conference, they awarded us the grant. So I think we had asked for a little bit more, $63,333, but they awarded us $53,125. That's what we got last year. So I just wanted to make you guys aware, see if you were interested in accepting that grant.
This is all the
This is the SWAT cameras, right?
clock cameras.
No, well,
You
yes,
said
a
it.
bit. It's the Digital Evidence Management System, the DEMS. It's an AI.
They collect data from everybody that drives by, if they're innocent or not, and they're stored somewhere on site. And they could be, someone can look at it and draw back the information without a warrant. That's just my opinion.
This is a totally different deal than, you're talking about where we purchased a trailer on the side of the road that shows your speed and has a camera in there. But I think what y'all are talking about is those big, the black poles that are at the different areas that has a camera.
Well, it's blocked there.
That's blocked.
Yes, last year, I believe we applied for the block cameras, Ms. Vicki was handling the grants, and we applied for the block cameras. I think we got a few more, she got a little excited, and we got a lot more than we expected, so we were planning on downsizing anyways, but because of the decrease in the funds that they're giving us, the majority of it's going to the DEMS, and that only leaves a little bit of money left for the flock cameras.
So this is the same thing as last year, as
It's
the
the
flock
same,
camera.
yes.
Okay. Well, y'all are right. All right.
Well, how many flock cameras do we have?
Currently, I believe it's 14, and so they're looking to
So-
scale back quite a bit.
So this is my understanding, and they're talking about it on the news every day, and counties or cities don't take it to the vote. There's a lot of people for it, and a lot of people against it. I understand it helps if the bank gets robbed and they head out and you sue it, but you hear about police officers tracking their girlfriends or their wives or their enemies. Of course, I figure I'm being tracked anyway, so that's okay. I know I'm being tracked, but that's fine and dandy. But I don't understand, we voted up here to apply for the grant for block cameras.
Yes, well,
This was
the,
before you came.
The flock cameras were grouped into that catalyst converter theft prevention act,
yes,
right?
yes, it's a catalytic converter theft prevention grant. Last year, like I said, we got all the flock cameras. This year, they were more interested.
But this is my point, it is a matching grant. I mean, not a matching grant, it's a we had to spend the money and then the government's gonna send it back to us.
Yes,
And
reimbursement.
that wasn't explained to this college. And we didn't approve to buy those. We applied for
Yeah,
the
it was like
grant,
$60,000, right?
67,000 or 63,000.
63.
63,000. How did the money get spent without it coming before the court?
I believe there was a resolution, I'm not sure, but I went to Ms. Mickey's file, and I believe there was a resolution to apply, and then another resolution when it was awarded. It's my understanding.
I haven't seen that. Have you?
I probably have,
I'd have to pull.
I wanna
Make
see
sure,
it.
Sure.
Because from this day forward, these funds are money from these constables, sheriff's department, but they all have to be approved by this court
Yes, sir.
to go out. I've been sitting here longer than anybody here, and I ain't never approved it on this agenda to buy.
So-
There's two,
I'm sorry, just for the record, we bring in to apply, a resolution to apply, a resolution to accept, and then you'd also like a resolution to purchase, just for my clarification.
okay. I'm gonna try to be professional about this. And I've got information here that shows Sheriff C's Fund, miscellaneous expenses. There is no miscellaneous expenses in county government, or it shouldn't be. We either buy rock, or oil, or sand, or gas, nuts, bolts, washers, we buy something. But a misappropriate, sheriff appreciation banquet, 778, 119, 256, 263, 878, one to a wife for reimbursement. 349, and it says requires commissioner court's approval. We've never done that. How does this happen? And I'm sorry, because I've been here the longest, but something ain't right. And we're gonna get into this a little later down into the agenda about the credit cards. But $3,735.45 for Sheriff's Appreciation Dinner, banquet meal catered by Joe's Italian Grill. It was paid for with a credit card. We're gonna get to that in a little bit. I don't want another check signed unless it comes before this court. Any money coming in has to be approved in. Anybody going out, and I'm not getting on you, this all happened before you got here. You just have to be standing there when I'm already up. We've got some issues.
Yes, sir.
So, get back on Stephanie, this year is, we got approved for it, this is money that we're accepting.
Yes, yes. And one of the things with the Motor Vehicle Crime Prevention Authority, if we turn down the money for specific things, we're not able to reapply for those specific things. So I know the flock cameras are a little controversial right now, and I understand if you don't necessarily want to attack those right now, but the digital evidence management system is the majority of the costs in this grant. So I would ask you to maybe consider approving partial.
You're gonna have to explain that a little bit better for me, because I'm gonna be a lot more questionable about this stuff from now on. Because, I think we've had some wool pulled over our eyes.
What is the digital management system? Is it the camera on the speed limit sign?
No, that is actually, it's a subscription that goes into the cameras, the body cameras, the car cameras. It's an AI-based system, and it helps to transcribe conversations and build the narratives. Makes it easier to share with other counties if it's kind of a group effort. So that has nothing to do with the flock cameras. It's just an additional system to their already established body cameras and car cameras.
Helps out with the report writing
Yes,
and stuff like that.
yes, it helps free them up a little bit more.
I think we need to table this until we can do more research myself. I'll make that form of a motion.
How much time do we have?
We've had the notice for about a week, so I would say the sooner the better. I can touch base with them and find out, let them know that there's some.
Not to go against what we're saying, this is what we've already applied for.
Yes.
We got it.
Yeah.
They're saying we got awarded, right?
Yes,
And
sir.
they're just wanting to give us the grant that we applied for.
Yes, sir.
But if it's to do with flock cameras, I don't know whether I want to continue anything any further.
She's saying the majority of it is for the help out with the report writing. So is there a way
Well,
to?
yeah, it'd be shared.
Yeah.
Going to an outsourced run. I mean, so our data's going somewhere else, regardless of what system we use. If you flock cameras, then no matter what it is, but our data is being sent somewhere that we don't know about. So we're paying for it.
It might be worth it to ask if there's a group of people here that have showed up because of that. Is there a group of people that showed up because of the opposition for flock cameras? Or is that just something that?
No, but I'm opposed to it. I didn't come for that, but.
Okay, I didn't know if there was, I thought it might be worth it to question.
The county, the flock cameras are here, we don't own them all. State of Texas got some of it.
To the next meeting would that be soon?
We have a special session
Friday.
Friday. Let me speak to them and actually.
She's the best one.
You can't, it's not on the agenda.
No.
Like.
Oh, okay.
You need the next commission.
I can touch base with them and find out.
Okay, we're gonna,
Isn't there,
I need a
isn't there some bills that we're supposed to be sending back to get money for those flock cameras?
Yes. it's
Have
already
we
been
received any
submitted.
of it yet?
We haven't, they're following with the recording on the second quarter report. So, that's all been resubmitted.
Who does the reporting?
The grants office.
The grants office does it?
Yes, sir.
It's not the sheriff department?
No, sir.
Okay. All right.
No, any
I'll
reporting
second
for the
his
grants
motion
is-
to table.
all in favor? Number 7, discuss an act on approval on emergency vehicles, Inc. invoice for rural ambulance service grant.
So, we accepted the grant on the July 7 special session. This is just, we received an invoice for a floor model ambulance. It has a few miles on it, but it's still new, so it's less expensive. There's an invoice there, it shows kind of the breakdown of what's included in the ambulance. And this kind of speaks to your point earlier, Mr. Smith, is that it's just to get approval to pay that invoice if we are interested in that particular
And the money is there.
ambulance. Yes,
We
sir.
already got it.
And the money is already in the account.
Okay. So I got another question about this one. Here I go again. When this was presented, they didn't say nothing about Trinity County was gonna own this ambulance. I thought we was getting an ambulance for one of our ambulance services. And since Stroton has an ambulance service that is out of another county, the judge says they could only get one, and they would be applying for the other.
Yeah, they had.
So I called Keith Shelley and practically begged him to come over here and get with the judge on it, and we applied. But I didn't know that, I guess my question is, have you checked on it to see if we're gonna be held responsible if something goes wrong on the ambulance, or is our liability?
I think as far as liability, like if they bump into somebody in the parking lot, I don't think that's a Trinity County issue. But as far as keeping up compliance with the grant, it certainly seems like Trinity County is on the hook for those, is it biannual or annual reports or annual reports to the, I guess wherever we got the grant from. There's some language that we have to keep up with stuff. And I think, is it Trinity County Ambulance Service now? Is that the name? Is it still Ventura?
No, it's going to be under Ventura.
Okay.
Until the transition happens.
Well, I think
I
Keith.
thought you was changing the name of it, Keith.
That's in process, but right now, the new entity is not licensed, so that's going to take a few months. Right now, it's the way we applied for it is under Ventura Nursing Service.
So that's gonna be okay?
Yes.
Yes,
absolutely.
I've reached out to
So
the Texas.
you're gonna supply the records to Stephanie or the county?
For an annual report, yes.
Have you checked on the liability as far as the county's concerned?
Yes, sir, it's all included in the sub-agreement that we have.
And what does it say?
Well, it's a signature, or it's a agreement between the county and Ventura, just to fulfill the agreements of the grant, or the requirements of the grant, with expected duties, the equipment and how it is a state interest.
Hey, I'm all behind this. I've got no problem with it, other than I don't want Trinity County to be liable if something goes wrong on the ambulance.
I don't believe that's the concern you need to have. The concern is just to make sure that Ventura keeps up with their annual reporting, so we're not, putting a bond with the folks we got this grant from. It's going to be similar to a lease. It's under their care and custody, and they're going to provide insurance for it.
So Keith, in front of all these people, you're gonna take care of all that.
Absolutely.
All right, make a motion, what we need to do here.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Got you on film.
That's 349, 800, $349,800.
I guess we got that much in, right?
Yeah, we got 350,000, and they spent every dime they could. Of course, that's California way. I couldn't help it. I couldn't help it, Steve.
Okay, number 8, receive information regarding proposed changes in federal grant rubric.
Yes, sir. So these are the proposed changes to the grant rules from the Office of Management and Budget. And it's just going to change how the federal grants are governed, and it applies to most federal funding. So one of the biggest issues is that it's going to give federal agencies the ability to terminate a grant mid-program. So it could be cut before completion, and it can either be left incomplete or left to us to pay, which kind of speaks to the jail situation, because if we do end up, and we got the approval for the resolution, so I am still continuing to work on that end to see if there's a way that we can get ourselves into that, if it would work for us. But just in that vein, there's a possibility that the funding could be pulled. And the hope is that it would just kind of fly under the radar.
I asked Stephanie, she brought it to my attention about these new grant regulations that they're going to kind of throttle back, just giving money out with very little stipulations. And I mean, that's a good thing in some sense, but we need to know if we're going to get, not every grant is the right grant for us. Is it worth us going through this process? Is it worth the reporting and the reports? Is it worth the risk that the plug might be pulled midstream? And I think what Stephanie was saying is, say we go and we try to make this ICE housing facility grant work, you get halfway through and it's a reimbursement, or we have to put up, 150,000, 200,000 at different stages for engineering and slab and stuff like that. These new federal rules can say they can come in and say, hey, look, you don't qualify anymore, we're going to stop funding. We're left with a half-finished project, and you hope not, but it could be a considerable amount of money out. So I asked her to bring this to Commissioners Court just to let y'all know, going forward with these grants, to have these new regulations in mind. I think you'll have a copy of them in your folder, and I advise y'all to read them and become acquainted with them.
Well, it hasn't passed yet. It's not set in stone. So if you wanted to reach out to representatives and let them know that that's a question mark, they plan on giving the final roll by October 1st. But it looks like it's going to
Yes,
be in
ma'am.
that direction.
Thank you all both.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you, Stephanie, and I keep hearing good things about you too.
Number 9, discuss and set optional county road and bridge fees for calendar year 2027.
Well, there's nothing to say. It's the same thing we do every year.
So no changes?
No change.
But there's no numbers on here. But
It's the same $1.50 it's been for 15
Make a
years.
motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
all right.
Number 10, discuss an act on official law. Number 11, discuss an act on approval of personal action form.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Number 12, discuss an act on approval of complete check register, July 2026.
For July, we paid out a total of $947, $126.07. My bad, I said that wrong. But out of the AP side, not including payroll, was $894,266.
Nobody has any questions? I make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Number 13, discuss approval of claims and invoices.
I put another bill with some that were added after the report went out, so the total for this check run would be $295,987.
Yeah, that's right.
Motion to approve these.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Number 14, discuss and act approval on budget amendments for Trinity County.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Number 15, discuss and act on credit card usage policy for Trinity County.
I asked Lindsay to put that on the, I asked for it to be put on the agenda, and I'll tell you exactly why. Anytime I can take this card, I've said this before, all money coming into this county is supposed to come before us. And all money going out is supposed to come before us. So when the previous auditor came up with the idea of us getting credit cards, I thought it was a great idea so that we could book our schools and stuff like that when we go to conferences that we have to go to. Every time I go to a hotel, they make me put up my credit card for incidentals and stuff. So I had no idea, because we let her set this policy up. I had no idea that this card in my pocket, I can go down there and spend $5,000 and it automatically comes right out of the bank, out of the general fund, without any approval from this board or this auditor. And she's supposed to be looking at us and making sure we're doing things right. That's the reason I say that we need to get this audit done. People, we hadn't had an audit done in Trinity County since 2023. You say, well, why? Well, let me address that. In 23, we had an auditor that told us that we needed to change software on our computers. So we voted to do it. Well, the conversion has still not been done. In 3 years, we have not had an audit. I have asked, and I have asked. Now the auditor, I come and met with the outside auditor, and he said he would be back with 24s in June or July. Well, today's what, the 11th of August, and we haven't heard from him yet. We have to have an audit. That's the reason we're $1 million in the hole now. That's part of it, because we don't know where we're at. We have to get this audit done, or we're going to have to do a forensic audit to protect this little lady right here and protect us. We need to know where our money's at. So, I mentioned it a while ago about miscellaneous expenses, and I want that taken out of county government.
I've been working on those.
I don't believe it should be on nobody's budget and nowhere, because it went for something. And the people, this is the people's money. They deserve to know where their money went. And we've got one here for the Sheriff's Appreciation Dinner, benefit meal catered by Joe's Italian Grill. It was paid for out of the general fund.
Seas fund.
Seas funds.
You can't do that with C's funds.
Yeah.
Well, my law says you can.
Which law, Neil?
Well, I'm gonna show it to you. I'll be glad to show it to you,
Because I
Sheriff.
got approval from the auditor before I paid that, and I'm not
Well,
busy.
you've been doing it since 2018.
And y'all have approved every one of them.
No, sir, we have not approved it. Show me where we've approved it at this court.
How did it get paid?
That's what I'm asking.
And another thing,
That's how I'm trying to figure this out. Because I'm not the brightest candle in the store, but I'll burn as long as any other one does. Your wick too. And I'm telling you, year to date, in 26, you spent $71,812 out of C's funds. In 25, 26, you spent $72,262.99 without court's approval. From 2018 to 2026, the total C's funds use is $265,276.45 without court's approval. And it's miscellaneous. I want to know what we did with it. I was hoping that this audit would show. But we've been sitting here all these years, and me and the sheriff had the issue over the C's funds before, when I told him to buy a car out of it if he wanted the third car. We was only buying two. And he told me I couldn't tell him what to do with the C's funds. And I told him that he couldn't spend them without my approval, but I was wrong, people. I'll admit I was wrong, because there's $800,000 been spent. $265,000 been spent, and I don't know what it was for. So I asked Lindsay to put this on the agenda about the credit cards, and my proposal is that we all have to go to conferences. That's mandatory by the state of Texas. And that's going to be more than $200. We buy parts, or I do, in my precinct. My secretary buys parts. And she's got my credit card. If we can buy them cheaper offline, then she orders them. But my proposal is that we change the rules on this credit card that's in our pocket. The only thing I use mine for is when I go to a conference, and then if we are lucky enough to get the TDC inmates that work for us every now and then, I have to buy their dinner, and I go and pay for it, which is usually $20, $30. If I do it 2 or 3 weeks, it's $70, $80, under $100. So I said that we need to set this in policy on these credit cards that $200 or less is all we can spend without her approval.
It's already in the rules right here.
I just debated
With that,
Oh, this is new.
this is the new one. This is the new one. We shouldn't have the power to go out and spend $5,000 without her knowing what it's for and if it's appropriate. And I want you to look that law up on the appreciation dinners and things like that, because it's against the law. I talked to a lawyer in Austin, and he told me. He said, I tell them at every sheriff convention, you can't do that. So,
which lawyer I'd like to talk to?
Jim Allison, the head of TAC.
So I'd like to get something clear. Did I not clear this with the auditor's office before I put that on the credit card? Thank you.
Well, I mistaken the invoice that was sent. I thought it was already on the card. I had it filed
Okay.
in there.
And the day that it came up on the bills, I made a motion to pay all the bills except that one. Well, after court, you walked up to me and said, it's already coming out of the bank account.
It's already right.
That's the first I'd ever heard of it. So that deal has not been approved by this court.
Right.
And that money cannot come out of C's fund. So it needs to be paid back to Trinity County. Now, for what account, I don't care. If you're giving an appreciation dinner for your employees, come out of your pocket. That's what I do when I feed mine. I please mine, I pay for it. So,
How many of those meetings, those dinners did you go to?
how many of the dinners did I went to the first couple of them when you liked me and you invited me.
Well, I'm not one
And
mad at me.
then you turned on the whole court, and we're not invited. And you're not legally able to do that. There's nothing wrong with your scholarship fund. Let's go ahead and get that out here. While we got an audience, and you'd like to be transparent, let's get fully transparent. There's nothing wrong with you having your breakfast. That's a wonderful thing for a scholarship fund. Where it's wrong is when you use county facilities, county equipment on county time and county employees to sponsor. That is wrong. Just not long ago, you had a slab poured over here at the back of the courthouse.
Well, I didn't have a slab for it.
Yes, sir, you were.
I asked for it.
You requested it.
Yeah,
They
I
did
got
it. You also asked for plug-ins and lights and stuff put out there. Woody, it's wrong. That's the reason you took the money out and you don't have it in a 501(c)(3) yet, do you?
Yes, I do.
You do?
Yes, sir.
Well, it's in the paper that you're waiting on
Well,
one.
I don't know what the file, what the paper wrote. That's not what we've done.
I'm just telling you, there's nothing wrong with your scholarship fund, and I'm proud that you're doing it. But we've got to do it according to the law.
And we are.
You are the law, and you should be doing it by the law. But it hadn't been handled right so far.
Listen, first of all, a couple years ago, when the outside auditors, again, it said, I think the last time they did an audit.
That was in 23.
2 years, they looked at them. First of all, these funds, every year, is filed with the state of Texas, and they do an audit themselves. So if anything was done illegally, they would have come back and said something a long time ago. That's number one, okay? Number two, when we're talking about the seized funds, the court does not have the authority to say I cannot spend the seized funds.
You can't spend it without our approval?
Yes, I can, Neil. The only one that can say that that is not a legal expenditure is the county auditor. She is the one that says this money does not fit. Now, if anyone will agree with me on that, I've already talked to him about it. He'll be glad to come over here and tell you what he told me. And I don't know if Colton was part of that, but seized funds, Colton has seized funds, Benny has seized funds, we all have seized funds. It specifically says that the court has no control over that.
But it has to be budgeted before it's.
And I understand that. But we've never done that in the past until just recently we said we gotta do it. Well, that's fine. We're doing it. We move forward. But we haven't been doing it, and no one's been doing it, is what I understand. And we're trying to fix it. But the outside auditors and the auditors from previous never required that.
He's not wrong, and we've talked about this, and this is something that we've noticed that needs to be changed.
And we're
And
changing it.
he's gonna change and do better, and, I mean, I think he said it, you made it pretty well known that you're upset by it and everything, but there's nothing we can do about it now, except do it the right way moving forward. And he says he's gonna do it.
And the only thing about, you talk about the appreciation dinner, and I get it, it's gonna come strictly out of the foundation from here on out. But
Why? If it's legal, why are we
because
changing
you're
it?
saying you're not gonna pay for it, you're gonna fight it. I don't wanna sit here and fight all the time, it's crazy.
I don't either.
But let's go with the other thing is what it says in seized funds, the only thing I cannot spend it on is alcohol. It's very clear. I can show it to you if you want it. Come over and we'll sit down and have a talk. I'm fine with that deal. There's no problem with that. But you're bringing these problems up in here because you're mad at me.
No, sir.
Yes, you are.
No, sir, you
Yes,
have-
You're mad at me, but that's okay. That's okay. Personalities conflict, and I ain't got a problem with that. They're gonna always come. You and I have gone back and forth for years, and we've got along, and we've been mad, we've got along, we've been mad, and that's just the way it is, especially during budget time. Everybody gets their feelings hurt.
I'll make a motion.
I'm not real sure where that came from about the dinner that he does for his people. That's basically a business, right? It's a business. He doesn't own the business, but it's a business. I own a business. We're supposed to increase morale for our employees. I think it's insane that y'all are arguing about him having an appreciation dinner for his employees. I think that's insane. Well, no, it's insane that you're telling me we should pay for it out of his pocket. He doesn't own that.
I made the motion to approve the new
I think it's
regulations.
crazy.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
15 minutes break.
What was that on, Tommy? The limit on the credit card?
It was transition. You were right, like they stopped. Once it got hot, we stopped bringing the meeting back to order, please. Yes, sir.
I hate when people do this to me, I don't know. I know. You gotta balance the risk.
What is it, on policy? That's on the ambulance. $16, discuss an act on approval on the sheriff and constable fees for FY 2027.
There's not been any constables or anybody asked for any changes.
We just, I have to send it to the state, so whatever, and I talked to Mr. Damick, and I think he was gonna get with everyone and just decide what their key chart was gonna be for service. I sent it to the state. Oh, no, I sent it to the state. They sent me an email, because I called them. Yeah,
They sent me an email too.
well, Shasta.
I guess we will do it. There's been no change.
Did you already turn it in?
Well, why does it show,
Yes, different.
why is it showing current fees and new fees?
That's what I did because I didn't, Jill had sent it to me and I pulled up the past years because I didn't know Shasta did those till like way after I'd done everything.
So
And
which fees are we going by, the current ones?
the current are what they are set now. The new ones is what I honestly thought
No, I don't wanna go up, I don't wanna go up on these people.
Nothing has been, I am the one that normally turns in the mistakes. And
Well, see,
constables
this is
have
service
to
fee
do
for
with me,
constable.
I understand.
Yeah.
But it's still, large livestock,
per day is going from $10 to $20.
Is that for us to have, like, to hold those animals?
What's that?
Is that for us to hold those animals?
Yes.
Because you gotta think, you got feed, you got everything to go into that.
Well, this thing is got a bunch of it going $50 or
And we
$25.
are so under what everybody else is also on our fees. All this, everybody in our.
We just said this today.
We don't have to.
It's not, we don't have to turn it into October the first.
October first,
I don't think we ought to just go up on people because we can.
I think a few years ago, we got the auditor to reach out, or maybe you reached out around the counties to see what their fees are. So if it don't need to be turned into October 1st, y'all want to try to do that again? Lindsay, you reach out to some.
And Colton, if you'll correct me if I'm wrong, generally when we have an animal case, doesn't that, once that person is brought to court, don't they pay restitution if the sheriff's department or someone has had to care for or handle that animal?
That would be put in there, and I think, but this stuff will probably get paid long before we get to court, so if someone's cows get out and they gotta house them, in order to get those cows back, they gotta pay that holding fee, and the same thing with the dog. You know, they would pick a dog up, you know, and that would happen way before we get them in court, but usually if they work it out, we factor that into the criminal side, if there is one.
But why don't y'all reach out what the current is around us? We can table that today. I'll make that the form of the motion.
I second.
All in favor?
I just don't believe we need to try to stay up with the Joneses. If they're charging 200 in Walker County, they got a lot more money over there than we got over here. Our people are poor. What?
I said we will stay poor.
Yeah, we probably will.
Number 17, discuss an act on approval of bid on tax resale properties from Trinity County Treasurer.
Make a motion we approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Discuss an act on the burn ban for drought condition.
We have the trash day first. Number 18.
Number 18, discuss an act on setting fall trash cleanup.
So-
day.
I had Lisa put that on the agenda. We normally do a trash day where the citizens come to our location in the spring and the fall. We normally do it in April, October or something. October. So we just need to look at October and see what dates, just so we go ahead and get it out and I can start working on getting the probationers to come and, do like we normally do.
How about the 17th?
Yeah, the first week in October is a fair in Trinity, so we don't need to do that then.
I don't have anything going on around the county on the 17th of October.
Middle of October.
That's Groton's homecoming
Go
weekend too.
to,
It's Groton's homecoming, and they have a parade and all that.
is that
I think we
on,
did it on a parade last time.
is that on a Friday or Saturday?
Saturday.
Saturday?
What about you said the first week, that would include.
The fair is the first or second of October.
The 10th is the next Saturday.
Let's do it the 10th.
Anything going on the 10th?
Well, I got a wedding the 15th. Get rid of it.
Well,
Somebody else.
That's a Thursday.
That's a Thursday.
October 10th. October 10th.
would somebody get that on the website? Oh, I don't ask Lisa.
For the wedding or the cleaning?
Whoever does it.
I'm just asking.
I'll make that.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now, discuss.
One other thing though, now, let's see, we're not doing the tires, right?
No time.
No tires.
We
We had,
did one last year with tires, and then this past one we didn't.
the last one we didn't do,
We didn't do one.
so we're gonna do tires in the spring?
yes, if we can get with the, you know, I sit on that board over in Angelina County, on Deck Cog board. and
They didn't pay for it for that.
They didn't, they had a lot of entries come in, they had split the money a wider distance, so.
I think we need to do it at least one time a year.
Are we still getting paid back for just the trash?
Yeah.
2 times a year?
Well, no, not last year, and they cut it back to one because they, it was only one time this year. We got paid for September, and we got paid last year one time a year, because they had a big, they took a lot of funding away from that section of the project.
That's a great deal, that track.
We have it set aside in the budget. We have a line item in the budget for that, $10,000, if I'm not mistaken.
I know the county appreciates it. A lot of people use that cleanup day.
Well, I don't know about Groveton, but, you know, now that Trinity doesn't even do the heavy haul anymore, all you have is that one can sitting out there for $19.95 a month. And you can't get rid of nothing big, so you have to pay to get rid of it. It sure helps.
It
All right,
does.
Judge, that's all I have.
We've seen a lot of good feedback on letting people come do it.
Number 19, discuss an act on the drought. I called Keith, Mr. Hammond. We were sitting at 600 last week, we're sitting at 665 now, and they'd like to burn it.
I got a lot of calls about it. Showed it's supposed to rain out in parts of my precinct, and barely did anything. So,
Christmas.
Sunday evening, I come through here, got to the Y, and I had to drive about 40 miles an hour, and I could barely see the line. It came a good one right there, but I got to Glendale and quit. So, whatever y'all think.
I think we need one.
Think
I
so?
know it is dry. It is dry.
You make it in form of
I'll
motion?
make that in form of a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Burn bins on. Okay, discuss an act on Trinity County groundwater conservative district.
I asked that be put back on, and meetings past, we talked about it, and our last action was to go out to surrounding groundwater conservation districts and ask if we can join theirs. In your folder, you have one from the Lower Trinity Groundwater District. That's Polk and Sanjak. They politely declined. We're not on the same aquifer as them, but you know, above ground, we are more connected with those counties than others. The Piney Woods, which is Angelina and Nacogdoches, they're supposed to be sending us a letter, but I called the other day and they said they're going to politely decline too. It seems like it'd be a financial burden for them to take over our county, and the revenue generated from the commercial water distributors wouldn't really justify them going through all that. Houston County, I believe, wants to go it alone, is my understanding from the folks up here that have talked to them. That's unfortunate for us. The only contiguous groundwater conservation district I haven't reached out to is Walker County, the Blue Bonnet District, and that's a fairly large one. I can if you want to, but I really think it's probably going to be more of the same. However, I will ask. I spoke with the judge's office, and I want to say they're going to visit with Linda, Trina Ashby's assistant. Is that right, Lisa? They have a call in, and actually, as I'm talking now, I called. Is Representative Cody Harris still representative? I got his number the other day, and his assistant called me back Friday, and we're scheduled for a call sometime this week. He's the guy leading the charge over in Anderson County and Houston County for the groundwater conservation districts against that Kyle Bass fellow. I don't really know what to do at this point, and that's why we reached out to these, senators and representatives moving forward. The easiest and least expensive way was for us to jump on and join these surrounding ones, but it doesn't seem like they want us to. So I guess I'm going through the court for guidance on what our next step is. I can talk with these people and kind of see, but
I've
heard, you know, just different opinions on how much, if, let's just say we go at it like Houston County does, is try to go at it on our own. I know you did some research on that. Is that pretty costly?
Yeah, it's expensive, and just from early on into my, I guess, kind of research and review for this groundwater conservation district, I reached out to a fella, you know, in Austin that's kind of the head of this stuff, and I reached out to a fella on Farm Bureau. I forget his name, but I talked to this attorney, and it looked like it was going to be in the neighborhood of $100,000 plus. And that was just to start the process and get everything going, and then it had to be voted on and things like that. So we're looking at, you know, I think conservatively around that $100,000 mark. It might be a little bit under, it might be a little bit over, but it was such a number to where I thought it in the county's best interest to ask these other people to, you know, see if they take us on board. You know, that would save us a little money. I even offered when I spoke to at least one of these conservation districts, you know, for them to give us a number on what it would take, and maybe Trinity County could offset some of the cost of, you know, taking us in there, and that they didn't really want to entertain that. I think they're a fee-based, right? So they're not very well funded. Houston County wants a tax base, and that's going to be a better funded deal, but it's harder to get passed because these people have to vote to raise their taxes to have this groundwater conservation district. We talk about data centers. We talk about folks coming in the county. We talk about land being broke up. We talk about urban sprawl. It is, you know, likely that somebody that's looking to pump out water is going to go on this map with the Texas Groundwater Conservation District, and they're going to look for those little county squares that are blank and not colored, and they don't belong to them. Without any kind of authority, they can take so much water out of the ground as they want. No one wants to have someone monitoring our water, and no one wants to have these farm wells or these personal wells, you know, have to be registered or something like that. And that's great if everyone does the right thing and everyone looks after their neighbor and they make sure they're not taking away anything from the surrounding properties. But we're entering into a world where people don't think about, you know, John down the street who's got a well there too. You know, they're thinking about, hey, I can make X amount of dollars and pump X amount of gallons out of here and do that. So that's why I think we really need to keep working on this groundwater conservation district establishment. And I'm a member of Farm Bureau, and I sit on the board locally, and it's something they're very passionate about, and they've kind of, you know, tasked me with being the one to bring this to the county, and happily, you know, I'm happy to do it. Ken, do you want to say anything about that?
Well, obviously water's going to be a big deal in the legislature this year. That's going to be probably foremost problem. Exactly how they'll handle that, I don't know, but I do believe they're going to try to allow conservation districts to have a lot of power over what that water is used for in their district. If I don't think the legislature will go to do anything about private ownership on what's under here. Now, they won't give that power to the conservation districts. I don't think the legislature will go there. All this came about up in Anderson County when the guy up there is building the big wells and caught the water out. Caught everybody off guard, and now they can't go back and retract all of that. So what Colton is telling us is that people are going to look for those areas that have no power to legislate or to monitor or to guide. And if Trinity County does not have that then we're gonna be bullseye. And, nobody wants to limit, restrict private ownership. I don't think that's ever the intent, but I think to protect. And just, if we look around the county at Ruston and Trinity and the wells that you have, if somebody's pumping that level of water out every day, how long is it gonna be before that well goes down? And then what are we gonna do? So it's sort of a catch-22, but it's a protective thing that we have to have. And I don't want you out there telling me what I can do with my well on my property, but at some point, somebody's going to have to make that call.
Yeah.
And then until we do that, and guys, there's a lot of resources out there through Farm Bureau and in the legislature. He'll come and talk to you individually if you'd like somebody to come and visit with you, give you. We've got resources that can do that and give you a lot of information. So if that's something that concerns you, it's something you'd like to see, we can make that happen.
I think probably where we leave it, and this is something, I mean, we've had water issues in several subdivisions since I've been elected. And everybody gets those calls, everybody gets upset, and it's a huge problem. Just imagine if it's a county-wide issue. What I guess I propose now to Commissioners Court is give us another reset to the next scheduled Commissioners Court meeting. I'm going to talk to our representatives and other representatives that are in the fight for this water conservation, and see if they have any other ideas besides going out and hiring a law firm that specializes in this groundwater conservation districts to help us. And then I'd like to bring that to you, and then I think it's going to get to the point where we're going to have some bids and kind of seek out somebody to help us with this, like we are with the abatements. And I believe,
And all of them, if they dig them wells and suck that water out, it's gonna put them out.
and they don't have the funds to battle.
That's exactly right. Dr. Barnes told me many years ago, he was a mayor on the Trinity. In 1986, he told me that the only water in Trinity County to speak of was right down there at that river, 6 miles south of Trinity. And you know, there are a lot of wells dug. City of Groveland just dug one out here for Y.
Car allowance that our county clerk posted about us. $18,000 a year, $1,200 a month is what it equals. Truck note, insurance, tires, gas, all comes out of, and I'm speaking for myself, y'all can talk if you want, comes out of my pocket. Transmission went out in my truck last year, $7,000. County didn't pay for it, I paid for it. I'm at work every day, Monday through Friday. I come to work, I'm with my guys working. I travel county roads all day long. Sometimes on nights and weekends if we have a tree fall. So, I don't know if any of y'all have ever, which I know all of y'all have, went to the gas pump lately and filled up the tank of gas. So, yes, there's some years that we may not spend $18,000, but there's also some years that my transmission goes out my truck $7,000. And truck note $500. I don't drive a top of the line truck. It's a 2013 model truck that I purchased when I first became commissioner, just for commissioner work. So, you know, every year at this time, budget time, when we have to make decisions. All of us got to make decisions we don't like. I was law enforcement for that sheriff right there for many years. I like law enforcement. I am law enforcement. And we've got to make cuts. But to hear our county clerk get on Facebook 5 minutes after, or 10 minutes after, hour after last week's meeting and bash us for just because we had some issues with her department. And since we're talking about that, we're talking about cutting, just pass that around and look at it. We're talking about cutting an employee from her department that is using a county Xerox machine to put their face in it, take pictures, post it on Facebook. I've been in that office the past 4 years of our term. So let's see how much really we're concerned about $18,000 versus $50,000 a year. Because at any given time, everybody here knows it. 70% of the voters obviously do. So when you go attack it, you better make sure your stuff's in order as well. So it'd be my recommendation to cut that employee. I know she says she can use her R&P money, but let's wait a couple months and let the new county clerk decide if that's what she wants to do. That's my recommendation.
What's that? Is that a voodoo doll?
No, it's not a voodoo
Yeah,
doll.
but doll,
It's just
y'all take it as you want, Annabelle doll
It's just a doll.
at work.
Here's that chair. Can the camera see it? I want everybody to see it. Now, we gotta be transparent. I wanna make sure that we're transparent. You hear this?
This is, y'all can see it on Facebook. Bash us all you want. Us 5 in this seats have to make decisions. And when there's budget cuts, squeaky wheel gets the grease. So, with that being said, that's my recommendation on that section of it. We got to make cuts, so we got to get at it.
I'll address the vehicle accounts. I get $1,000 a month. By the time you pay a truck note and the gas, yes, my precinct isn't as big as some of theirs, but I've been called out maybe a time at night, use my own saw to go cut trees out of the road, drag them out of the road. My note's not $500 a month, mine's closer to $700 a month. So that leaves me $300 a month for fuel, tires, stuff like that, oil. And so I think we do more than what the vehicle allowance really allows us to have. But we're not afforded like some of these counties. Their commissioners gets a brand new truck, they have a gas card, they have all that. And by the way, we don't fill up on county gas. We buy every drop that goes in our vehicle. We don't get to pull up the county pump gas in. We better not. And so, I promise you, I use more than $1,000 a month.
I've got the most roads in the county. Got 40% of the road, and I'm driving with my vehicles. Of course, I got several vehicles. They're all older. They burn gas and they burn tires, and I got to have oil changes. I do a lot with my own equipment for the county. I'm actually building a barn right now using my lift truck, my nail guns, and my equipment. I try to save as much money as I can, but
I stand corrected, it's $1,500 a month, $1,500 a month.
if we get rid of our vehicle allowance, we'll have to buy us vehicles, or we just go in and hold that money.
Well, all the other counties, they buy their commissioner trucks. Y'all see that at the conference. They got the stencil inside the doors and all that. We don't have that luxury. We have to drive our own. And put miles on our vehicles, I do every day. So
what we're trying to do is not raise the taxes, not put the burden back on the taxpayer. You know, Neil says it all the time. Do we tax everybody? Do we raise them? You know, in my opinion, when it was 57 cents is when all this started, and we didn't pay close enough attention to it, we should never lower it. They've always said, I mean, it's easy to lower them, but it's hard to get it back up. And that's the truth. I pay taxes. I don't want to have any more burden on me right now, especially with the way the economy is. But we got to do something. I mean, the sheriff is missing 2 deputies from the city. They are. I'm supposed to get another ad valorem check the 3rd quarter. So,
You're such a better speaker than me, and they don't get mad at you like they do me, so, and you just keep going.
there's nothing to get, there shouldn't be Facebook bashing. There shouldn't be, this is our jobs. We ain't got to go home and eat dinner together. We've got a job to do. These people elected me to do it. They didn't elect to go on Facebook and call us scumbags. Because we got to make a decision. If the county clerk was sitting in this spot and I was sitting there, she'd have to make that decision too.
Well, y'all took it out of the wrong spot. He's actually being paid out of R&D. So we need to move that clerk position that's 0, move that to R&D and remove his. Does that make sense?
You keep who you want to keep. You got 3 employees over there plus yourself, and the office don't stay open, and you don't come to work. So you do it how you want to do it.
I still stay on with the policy.
I'm asking you now.
Yes, it would, and that's not a problem at all. We were blindsided this last court. No one has discussed any cuts with any of the elected officials. We can work together to where tempers don't have to get that, and things don't have to be said out of anger. We can work together, but if you don't have any communication and you're just blindsided.
Well, we just started the budget process. Nothing is set in stone or anything.
But do you not find it inappropriate that things like that were sprung on the elected officials and nothing was discussed with them, so that when you came to that first meeting, you could have had all the information?
We all sat down at that first meeting and we got what was presented. My deal is this, now knowing that the deficit that we have, if we can pay all 3 out of records management, which every year just keeps getting like this, I think that's a wonderful thing to do to help our county. And that's what I'm after.
And there's no problem with that.
Okay, well, that was my question.
There's no problem to do that, none at all.
That would take it out of the budget would be awesome. So thank you. Thank you for the answer. And let me say on behalf of the judge, he's sitting there, this is still a work in progress. But we're at $900,000 in the hole or more. We've got to have a solution. And the solution is, yes, the deficit for 3 years has went this way. We got reports put in front of us. That's all we have. That's all we know. When you get these reports, and the money was supposed to be there, but the money's actually not there. And now that we discovered that we're that far in the hole, we've got to do something to get us back. Now, the alternative is to make cuts that we have to make, some that we don't have to make, and that maybe it's going to be an increase in taxes, which is not going to flow.
It was a struggle, but the judge and the commissioner's court, we all worked together, and I'm saying it was a struggle. We finally got this thing paid off in 21. Supposed to be paid off in 22. That's the only reason the taxes have gone down, because we were paid out of debt. Now, most counties' taxes run in the 40s, so ours is still kind of high. Now, Walker County, I think, is like 36, 38. They got all kind of businesses and stuff. We don't have that. We need industrial stuff here. We need business.
So what are we doing to do that?
What are we actually doing to try to recruit and bring people here that will bring that kind of business?
I don't think we're doing nothing.
Okay, so I've got a suggestion, and I'm just gonna say this, because I don't know. And I talked to Tommy about it a couple weeks ago. I called him and I said, well, why are we not exploring these data centers a little bit? And I'm not advocating for or against, but I do know what Grimes County just got, and several other counties just got, is that data center going over there. And whether they're good or bad, I don't know. And I'm not advocating for them, I'll make that clear. Because I don't know what it takes, but I think somebody needs to start looking at that, because they're paying Grimes County, I think they're looking at for $30 million just to come in the door, and then they're gonna give them $20 million a year for the next 20 years, 30 years. So, is that something that we should be looking at? That's 3 times more than our whole budget.
I would say we weren't doing, we haven't done anything, because we're really in the process of working on that solar plant that's coming in, whether we like it or not, coming in at the LRC with it. So that's going to bring in $100,000 a year for 10 years, and then go up from there. So we got that one particular deal we are working on. You know, data centers, it's just like anything else, 50% like them, 50% don't. The issue is water. Well, the issue is, other than water, is if they want to come, they're going to come anyway. The only way you have any teeth in it is if you get them to do a tax abatement, and you can put stipulations in that tax abatement. If they go and I sell them my property, individual, I sell them my property, they put a data center on there, there's nothing we can say or do about it. But if we get them to, if they come to court or they come to the judge's office and ask for an abatement, we can put stipulations in. Hey, you got to truck in your own water. You got to build a power plant. You got to build your own power plant. You got to have a closed system so you don't use that much water. And every time you restock your water, you got to take it in and out. That's how you get away.
Distilled water.
Distilled water.
You put it in distilled, and then they have to haul it in.
Yeah. So there's different stipulations you can put in. So abatement, it sounds bad because, I mean, why are they getting a tax credit? But they could really do a lot of damage if we didn't do that. So
I don't know that you can stipulate the water unless we have a conservation district and have that power.
That's what we have.
I don't think the Commissioner's Court has that power to dictate what's done with private water.
The only way we can stipulate what we want is with an abatement. And if they choose not to take the abatement, they can do whatever they want to. That's the only power we have.
So we hired a firm, and the firm's representing us to get our tax abatement stuff put together to see if that's what we want to do. And he's advising us that you put in any stipulation you want. If you want to say, give us $1 million to go build a community center, plus this, and this, and you can do it. If you tell them, we don't want you to use any water that comes from Trinity County, truck it in, there's data centers that's doing that every day. So, but I know we got kind of sidetracked on this,
But on here it says we're needing, this is with the one that we proposed taxes going up to 57, right? And we're negative $845,000.
Is that the old and new?
This is the new
Year. Of course, it'd go up $62 a year. 300,000, it would go up to $93 a year if it goes to 57 cents. If it goes to the diminished rate, which is 0.5908, 100,000 is 51.80 a year. $200,000 place would be 103.60, and a $300,000 residence would be $155.40. So that's the numbers that you're looking at with this. But now you've got it 57%.
So what you're talking about, Stephen, the bottom number is 845. That's with
the cuts and with the taxes going up to 57. So we still got to come up with $845,000 to balance the budget. And I was thinking if there was a way to use that ARPA money, the 410,000, and get down to 430,000 roughly, we've still got to come up with $430,000.
That's correct.
Right.
But what we also need to look at is this didn't happen in 1 year. This happened over 3 years, or even prior 4 years. So we don't.
That
It could take a couple years to get back on track.
I think it's gonna take that. But that $400,000 that you keep talking about, Stephen, was set aside for a community center at the Y from ARPA funds. Ever since I've been here, I wanted to do something at the Y for us to have a building. It's embarrassing to me that every time DETCOG comes to town, we have to rent a church. We have to pay for a church. We don't have a facility over here. Trinity has a nice community center that the city owns. The city of Groveton has nothing like this. So we've got a chance to build us a community center. I think we can build it for $400,000. I don't want to give up on that. If we use this money to get us out of buying, we never gonna have a community center over here. I'd like to see one before I die. For the people of Groveton.
Can that money be used for that? The
Yeah.
ARPA money can be used, no, can it be used for the $400,000 budget deficit?
I was told it could be used on any project that was used before, like if we bought rock with it, we could buy more rock. Of course, we could use it on the.
It has to be spent by December 31st.
Yeah, either we're gonna send it back or we're gonna spend it. That's the two options.
We'd have to reallocate it though, right?
It all had to be allocated by the end of 24.
No, but it has to be reallocated to a different purpose.
It has to be, it can only be reallocated to something we've already allocated to. Like they've already allocated money before to the road
See,
so they can allocate it back.
when it was done, Colton, the sheriff department got 400,000, the constables, I think, got their trucks, each commissioner got 100,000. We had 400,000 set aside for the community center at the Y, and 100,000 for the Friday fire department. So that's was what it was all for.
I'm with you. I like the idea of a community center.
But we need, and if we give this up, we won't ever have one here.
Well, where are we gonna find the extra $800,000?
Well, like Tommy said, we didn't get in here overnight, and we're not gonna get out of it overnight. We're gonna have to look at cuts, and it's not personal, it's business. We're gonna have to look at cuts, and we may have to go to the bank and borrow money. That's my idea.
Is there a possibility that the community center in the future, and I think it's a great idea, I do, and I'm embarrassed, we had the option to hold the big check ceremony that I just went to, we could have held it here possibly, and I would have loved that, but we don't have a facility here to meet those standards. However, if the money can be used to dig us out of this hole, I don't know if it can, but if it can we push this back further? You know, this is a give and a take. If we're talking about raising taxes, you know, give the people something. I know it's unfortunate, but if we can reallocate that money and use it in the budget to offset it for a little while.
The only way that it could be used is if we gave it to Stephen, and he bought $400,000 worth of rock, I'm just using that for example, but he's got to spend that money by the end of the year.
Is that already part of his budget? I'm not familiar with it. Is that already an amount?
No, we
Okay.
each one have a savings account, we have money in ours. But in our budget, Stephen has the biggest part of the road budget because he has the most roads. But he's got money. So he could use this 400,000 and spend it by January, before January. And then he could give his savings account to the county.
400-something.
To pay the bills. That's what they're talking about doing, breaking it down.
And it could go with all of us as well. We could offset what we get on our rock budget next year. If we each spend 100,000 apiece, and then during the budget, we can only receive money from the general fund to buy rock, because we already bought the rock and it's in our stockpile.
Well, you need to check on that, make sure though it's all walking through the gate correctly.
If it's not a viable idea, then of course it's not. Yeah.
It's done.
Well, if we're gonna build a building, we need to figure it out, and we need to start on it tomorrow, because time is ticking away.
I've been saying that for this election in May. I've been saying it. I'm ready.
So, we have to have a preliminary budget 15th, which is Saturday, but we're gonna meet again Friday morning. We need to hash through what we're gonna hash through, and meet Friday morning and decide this is what we really wanna do, so we get the budget turned in. We can always change it afterwards, but we gotta have something. You know,
Put that to me.
But you're right. I mean,
I think that next year, you know, with evaluations always go up on parts, and that's gonna offset some of this as well. You know, we're not gonna be able to cut any given department smooth in half, or anything like that. You know, we're just not gonna be able, we're gonna have to pick little areas and then decide what we're gonna do, if we're gonna raise the tax rate up, if we're gonna raise it a little bit, if we're not gonna raise it at all, and wait it out the next couple of years and see if the evaluations help us out.
Catch up.
You know, with the new homes coming in, and all this and all that. So,
Lisa, is this the newest one that we had agreed on? Did you hand it out this morning?
Yes, that's the newest one that
Okay.
we sent yesterday.
All right.
If we leave the taxes at, .539, we've got $130,000 more than we had last year, is that right?
So we need 1.3 million, right?
Right.
To balance the budget. And that's with the cuts, right?
All right, say this again. This sheet that she handed us this morning, you done took all those cuts that we talked about? You done took all of them out? And we're still short how much?
Well, if we raise taxes to 5.7, we're short $825,000 according to this paper. It's on page 20 of 52.
So how much money difference are you gonna get if you 539 to your 57?
Got that right here.
$300,000? Okay. So at 539, it's 131,933.
But she done added it in.
I think she's added it in.
Did you think,
What is it?
then you add that 50,
.57 in on each sheet.
Yeah, the new one you have is the 0.57.
Ain't gonna bring in enough money nowhere. We're just in trouble.
That's what it is, and that's.
How much is the county short after raising taxes?
After raising taxes.
On the budget, if y'all did raise taxes, how much would be short?
$840,000.
$845,000.
Sure.
And if we use the ARPA money, we're still $400,000 in the hole.
And that's raising taxes 3%.
Not the max, it's 257. You can go to max, right, Danny?
You can go to that.
You can go to the minister.
Max is 59 cents.
Got me out.
Y'all do what you want to. What does the diminished rate bring in, Danny?
I'm sorry.
What does that diminished rate, 0.5 now, what does it generate?
752,000.
So you're still gonna be $500,000 short.
With that 400, we're gonna be 100,000.
Right.
I'm not for raising the full amount. We didn't, like I said earlier, we didn't get in this in 1 year. Next year, that it's gonna, if I'm reading this right, next year there'll be another 500,000 more than we had this year if we raise it to 57 cents. So that much closer. Plus the valuations are probably there, the even budget. So,
You're still gonna have to borrow some money to get your budget where it's gotta be, so we're gonna go across the road.
Since I've been here, we've never done that, so I don't really explain how you borrow money and get it in with your budget when you propose the budget.
When you borrow the money, you would have to put X amount of,
Just put it in the income side
yes,
loan or.
or X amount of dollars that come right out of the top of your taxes to pay the note. Yes, that's how it's done.
Any
So
solution to that?
if we leave it the same, from what I'm looking at, it's gonna be 131,000 extra. So if you look at next year with some evaluations, you're still gonna have that 131 plus some evaluations coming in. It would take 8 years to get back on track. I mean, if that's something we want to do, I mean, borrow money for 8 years and pay interest on it, that's something we may need to do. If we want to dissect this budget some more, I don't know what else we can do.
I mean, none of you sitting out there wants a tax increase, correct?
Well, it's hard to say when you ask a question from us, when we don't know what you're looking at.
Yeah.
I don't know what's in that big stack of paper. I mean, I understand the county has to run, I get it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I'm not sure what you can get from us.
539. It's 131. That's how many. You're gonna have $131,900 more in the budget.
Yes, sir.
But you're not,
If you rate,
because of interest, because of interest, you won't have
what are you talking about, cause of interest?
whatever money that you got, that you go borrow,
Oh, yeah.
you got interest.
But if you raise it to 57, like, sounds like it's leaning to, that would bring in 503,000 versus 131,000. So we're talking about close to $400,000 bringing in by raising that tax. Well, when my account gets low, I don't eat steak. I eat chicken or roadkill. Bite the bullet. It ain't their responsibility. It ain't their fault. It's our fault.
And I guess I kind of lean more with you, sir. I mean, you're asking us kind of, hey, we got the taxes, we can get there. But that stack of paper that you got there, I don't know what y'all cut out of that. Neither does anybody else in this room.
It's got
I mean,
everybody's salary,
Right.
the insurance costs, and see, insurance goes up every year.
Yes, sir.
All that's accounted in here, and the increases equal way more than what we're gonna take in.
Yes, sir. I understand
The
that.
fuel went up,
I get all that. That stick of paper ain't insurance and fuel, right? I mean, there's real budget concerns in there, I'm assuming. A lot of people are asking for money. You know, you're gonna ask these people that y'all are paying money out to, or you're gonna ask your whole county?
You got 20 departments that's their budget, salaries.
If y'all cut 2% from everybody's budget, where would that get you? Just across the board. Yeah, instead of picking and choosing, could that not be voted on? Would that be against everybody's?
My office is one that's, you're trying to cut a part-time. I only have one full-time and two part-time. I am the busiest court in this county. We have grand jury, we have jury trials, we have 411, 258, AG, and CPS court. We are busy. I have one full-time person. So cutting that $23,000 from my part-time person, that brings in more than that. That's why we hired her, was to bring in AG money. And we brought in over $50,000. She's paying for her stuff. So that's why I don't understand why my part-time is trying to get taken away when I'm bringing in enough to cover for her. It's like picking and choosing who you want to take from. And why not come to us and talk to us? I've never seen it. I've asked y'all to come in. Neil, you came into the office Friday for about 30 seconds and stuck your head in. You didn't ask to talk to me. That's what I would like.
You wasn't there.
But still,
You wasn't
didn't
there.
ask to talk to me.
You was on the cruise,
No,
remember?
I was not.
Okay, well, you wasn't in there.
Friday.
So, but let me say this right here. 3 years ago, you asked for a full-time help when you first got here.
And I didn't get it.
You asked to make your second one full-time, and I said no,
Yes, sir.
no, no.
Yes.
So you asked for a part-time, another part-time, till you could get caught up with your work. We agreed. Last 2 years, you've had yourself, full-time, and 2 part-time.
Correct. And I
Well.
am still behind. I'm still 42,000 folders behind in scanning because my stuff has never been scanned in. I'm out of compliance with the state. If my office burns down, we lose all files. That puts us in a bad situation. So yes, we are still catching up. We are still working our tails off to do everything we need to do to be where we need to be.
If you took all 3 clerks and took them out of RMP, out of my budget, that would open up for her to be able to keep her part-time. Because you would be taking 3 full-time positions.
You
and
can't
taking
use
them
your
out.
RMP for her.
No, I'm talking about out of my budget. If we took my 3 full-time clerks and took them all out of RMP, that would open up.
That we haven't had an audit year in 3 years. Now, going back to the days where we wrote checks, I don't think anybody writes any checks anymore, right? But if you wrote checks out for 3 years without balancing your checkbook, what do you expect to happen?
Took over a year and a half to get it where it even translate with the other stuff. It was very taxing.
Well, I'm sure it is, because I think Neil mentioned about that program that they're in the process. But we haven't heard from the auditor? That's ridiculous. Everybody's speaking the correct message.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry.
We had a new auditor.
Good.
Without that audit being done for the past 3 years, how correct is that piece of paper you got in front of you? I mean, I'm not trying to be rude, but seriously, I mean, if an audit hadn't been done, how do you even know? I mean, you know.
Like Tommy said, we're furnished with papers, and that's what we gotta go by. Now, let me say this. Lizzie, when did you go to work?
November, mid-November.
She got here, her hand was full.
Yeah, screwed, right? You got screwed.
So-
I mean, that's where we're at, right?
We got to get this straightened out. And the buck stops here.
Sure.
We can lay the blame anywhere, but it's right here.
Sure.
It's
I
our
think everybody understands
responsibility.
that, sir. I think everyone here understands.
Okay.
So what cuts exactly, or y'all got in this piece of paper, Scott, I think when he was asking, what are we cutting? Is it people or other things? or both?
Well, it was, the other day when we talked about it, it was, one position out of the county clerk's office. It was, part-time, out of the district clerk's office. It was, 3 out of the, sheriff's office.
The deputies, 3 deputies.
Yes, from 13 to 10. 5 jailers, not 6. And the environmental,
I'm sorry, you said you're cutting 5 jailers or just cutting 1 down there?
no, cutting 1. From 6 to 5.
Okay, so are we, well, we've already don't have one. So are we still trying to completely shut down the jail, or are we just trying to get the spending under control there?
Well, that was the judge's recommendation last Friday. Now, my opinion is I've asked for Lindsay to tell me exactly how much this jail is costing us to run over here. And she shot me with some figures, but I don't think it's what I'm looking for. If I can find it. I got so many things here, I don't know what I'm looking at, to tell you the truth. Not that one. In 24, she's got $720,000 is what it costs to operate that jail over there. Now, this does include the dispatchers, and we have to take the dispatcher's salary out of that.
So how much was that?
Well, that's the part I just got this morning, so I don't know. In 23, I should have done this backwards, I got it backwards. In 23, it was $715,000. In 24, it was $720,000.
Is that including running the contract jails too, or not?
No, she took that out of there.
So that's out, so it's $700,000 just to operate that jail, and that's gonna be primarily,
But that is got your dispatchers involved in it, so we gotta take their salaries out. What do you figure? 40,000 a piece, and you got one?
the dispatchers and jailers, I think, are 40,000 apiece.
Plus,
But you gotta understand, that's not all coming out of this budget.
I know that.
You got the SB 22 money that's paying it.
I understand.
I'm gonna say maybe a third of that. I don't know if that's even right. I'm guessing, maybe a third of that.
So far this year, Woody, we're up to $538,869 on the jail.
That's it right now.
That's out right there.
But what was that number?
That's how much has been spent so far.
In payroll or other, or everything?
Everything but the house, inmate house.
Everything but inmate housing.
Sheriff, explain, and you've said it to me before, but if we close that jail down, you're still gonna need around the clock jail.
You got to have a place to take the inmates as soon as you're arrested. That's the main thing. Everybody in this room can agree that jail is a problem. It's expensive, inmates are expensive. We're gonna all disagree about where we gotta go with it. I stand for law enforcement, and I stand to make it as strong in this county as possible for more than one reason. The main reason is if law and order gets out of control, then you're not gonna have businesses want to come here. They don't want to come here if there's just chaos. But the jail that we have now that we're trying to operate, limp along, and I know Neil made a comment last time in the last commissioner's court, well, you ain't heard more about any more breakdowns over there since the issue. We have had breakdowns, but we fixed the majority of it. The majority of the plumbing is fixed over there. We spent a lot of money fixing the plumbing. The plumbing was cast iron pipes, they all rusted out. All of that has been replaced now with plastic plumbing. It's not aesthetically pleasing because now you got pipes going out all the windows, but it's functional. And it is functioning to a point where you're still not spending that money. That jail, and I know Mike, last time he was in here, you asked the question, how many's in the jail all the time? I think we had 3 that day. And you're not the Mike or 7. That fluctuates every single day. Every night, you get a couple people arrested. You may not have none, you may have 5. We have to have beds and put them in. Otherwise, you're going to take them straight to Angelina County, which that deputy or jailer, whoever is going to be over there, it's going to be at least a 2 or 3 hour round trip, because we're not going to allow that. Plain and simple. Do rules, do executive directive. I don't have the option to use city jail anymore. And when we did that, you are going to remember, Neil, me and you the one that stood there and talked about that whenever I first took office, or before I took office, that was the thing we were going to try to do, and it was going to be a short term. When we were doing we had the variance for the 15 inmates upstairs. We had to have a jailer up there all the time. We've gotten rid of those jailers. We've already cut that back last year, trying to save money, whenever the state said no more, you can't do it before they took our variance away. So the issue is not that it's not let's close the jail. That shouldn't be the discussion. The discussion is how can we move forward? Part of why we're trying to bring this grant in here. I'm not saying it's perfect, and I never did anything misleading about that grant, and neither did my chief. We expressed everything we do at the time. That grant changes every single day as the Biden grant is what they call it. As it changes, the rules change for grants. We're not trying to pull wool over anybody's eyes. We're not trying to do something that's crazy. We're just trying to look for avenues to take the tax burden off, to take the money and put it back in this county.
Let me ask you a question.
$1 million a year is expensive to spend, and I'm against spending millions got blue ones that are past 90. And we also do that to try to, well, I'm not gonna go there, it's too long. But we do try to keep the blue warrants under control. That's all I'm trying to say. We're trying to keep them under control. We do have to keep some. Also, you made a comment about why are we not calling the director of TDC and saying, come get these inmates now? I do that. I do that, and I press everybody in my office. As soon as you get a pen packet from somebody that's sentenced, get it sent to TDC. We send, as soon as we get them, they're sent within 24 hours to TDC. And yes, we're making phone calls, and they're telling us we don't have enough beds right now. We don't have enough beds for females, whatever the case may be. That's not under our control. We're not telling them to leave them here. We're doing everything we can to get them out. I don't want to deal with them. I want them out of my custody. I want them out of my control. They are a problem, and they're nuts, and they're tearing out jail every time they're in. I don't know what else to tell you. It's, the dynamics of the inmate game has changed in the last 6 years.
So,
and it's gotten worse.
What I was getting at when I was asking the sheriff about what he's gonna need, let's just go off these numbers of this new budget. Starting October 1st, you're gonna have a $1.7 million budget just for the jail. And that comes with she's got 1.3 million in there for bed.
Well, let me add one thing to that real quick. Tom Selman, who has been great, he has not been charging us when we go over.
He contacted us.
I understand, and he told you that. I think you had a phone conversation with him.
Yes.
He's been charging us with 40, we've been 45, 47, 48, 54. They've not been charging us for that. Now, when we make a big issue over here, and some of his commissioners are here, they won't know why they're not charging us. So sometimes it's better just keep our mouth shut.
Well, let's get back on track here. We're going, I mean, this, after y'all's lunchtime. So, 1.7 million is what you got in the budget. 1.3 is for housing. That leaves 440,000. You take your dispatchers off, which is 5 of them, correct? And that's roughly 40, well, part of it, whatever our part is, let's say 30,000 for roughly. That's 120,000 from 440. That gets it down to 320. And then your jailers you're still gonna have, that's another, let's say, 100,000, that's 220. And, you know, there's insurance built into all this, all that. You really, I don't know how much money you can save. You're saying, and we all know you're gonna add on time, because every time, if I get arrested when I leave from here, I gotta go somewhere. You gotta take me somewhere. You can't just wait till the morning like you're doing now, the next morning.
Right.
And take everybody at once.
Can I say, just real quick, I do not think it's a good idea to shut down this little old jail we got. It's not the best. Yes, it's the only one we got. And, you know, running a county isn't just about saving money. It's about keeping people safe. And we don't want to just turn certain people out. We don't want that.
And one other thing I want to add to that, because I just want people trying to thought. If we close down this jail, which I'm for, I am, if we had an alternative. That's also going to keep us from applying for certain grants, like this Biden grant. If we're talking about whether it's a ICE facility or not, which it's not. But let's just say that they're gonna hold, it's a federal immigration, federal.
It's an
funds.
immigration
It's
detention
for all
center.
federal inmates if they need to use it, if they wanna use it. But they have to do a contract with the county for us to do that. That's totally separate. But we don't know all the dynamics.
But you can't put, I'm sorry, your prisoners, our prisoners, you can't put them in that?
We don't know. They're saying you can't put them like in the same cell. But the other day I had a question with a guy, I'm like, well, what can I do if we use this jail for this? They said, well, you can, but you can only, after so long, after the 3-day detention, then you have to treat them separately because you gotta keep them separate, which means, and I asked him, is that in the same cell or in the same facility?
Right.
And they're like, in the same
Right,
cell.
and I guess that's the last thing I'm gonna say, I swear to God, I won't talk anymore. This is crazy. You wanna get a grant, and you don't even know, I'm sorry, excuse me, you don't even know the rules, right? You wanna raise taxes or something, and we don't even know what we owe, right? I mean, shouldn't we, stop spending money on that piece of shit, right? That should be a historical marker, right? That's crazy. I don't know where to put them, sir. I don't. And I don't want bad people living next to me. I really don't. I'm sorry, Judge. Yes, sir, I'm sorry.
You can't go cussing and stuff, man.
I'm sorry,
It's okay.
I'm retired Navy.
I
You're
get
right.
it.
I'm
You
sorry.
got it. I want to cuss too sometimes.
No, I'm sorry. You're right. I'm sorry. Excuse me, I'm very sorry about that. Anyway. Thank you for your time, though. Seriously.
Bless you,
Have a good day.
But let's address, we don't know the rules. The rules change. This was a brand new grant, thrown out there, and we saw an opportunity to apply for it. Again, I'm not going to rehash, but we don't have to use the money if we get it. We can find out. What I want to stop doing is trying to find every way we're not moving forward, and trying to find ways we can move forward. So let's start discussing why we can do it, and quit saying why we can't do it, and figure if we can jump that hurdle later.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
Can you get that in writing to where our inmates can be
Well,
held?
we answered that a little bit ago, and I'm going to reach out and see if we can do that.
Because right now, we don't have that information.
I understand.
It says the complete opposite.
But what I'm
It says
saying
complete
is,
opposite.
what I'm saying is, sorry, Gil, I'm just saying, apply for it and see if it's doable. If it's not, then we won't do it.
So we've done a time for it.
Has it been sent? Has it been sent?
No, but it's in the works.
Okay, but we missed the first round.
Right.
I don't want to miss the second
No,
round
that's
because the
basically-
pies get smaller and smaller, and that's all I'm asking. That's all I'm saying. If we don't use it, I'm not going to get mad about that, but I'm going to keep looking for more.
But another thing that come up that I had a question about, maybe you can answer that. On that grant, we's gonna have to front the money and then we got it coming back to us.
So it's a reimbursement grant, the way I understand it. Now, I don't know how they work. Tommy said he understands. I don't know how reimbursement grants
It's
work.
not like the ambulance where they send us the money and we pull from it. We'd actually have to come up with whatever, how many million, what was.
Just what I understand is and I don't know this for a
But
fact.
the neat thing is, we don't have to know yet until we
We
know
don't,
we
that's
can
what I'm
use it.
saying.
So once we figure out we can use it, then we'll talk about that.
Right, but I just want to say, let's just get it awarded to us. And if they're going to say, hey, we'll award you $20 million, why not ask for it? And if we only use 10 of it, then that's fine. If we can figure out a way to do it, that's all I'm asking. I'm not,
Okay, since this is the first time me and the sheriff has been able to talk sensible in front of people
And I love
in a year or two, I just tell them, if you'll give me just a minute or two, I got a question for you.
just be nice.
Oh,
y'all
were
Where's the top?
I want to talk about the block cameras,
The what?
the block cameras.
That do a class.
And so
Yeah.
they
We get one on-
do the bad outweigh the good. In my opinion, yes, they do, okay? You've had 50 stupid cops do stupid things that I know of. Out of how many cops have we got in the United States that access to this? Because they were tracking down their ex-wife or their ex-girlfriend. Okay, they do the same thing with phones, they do the same thing with everything. If they want to track them, they're going to figure out a way to do it. They have stopped that. Now they've got protocols in place, okay? But these cameras that are sitting there right now, all they do is record a license plate and a vehicle. It does not have the owner of the vehicle, it doesn't know who they are.
Facial recognition.
It does not do all that. That's
Yeah, I've
all a
heard all
lie.
that.
That's all a lie. And you gotta ask yourself, who's trying to stop these cameras? Who are these cameras affecting the most? They're affecting the drug cartels because we're stopping more drugs with these cameras, and they're also stopping human smuggling. That is the two biggest industries these flock cameras were for, and that is the two things that they're hurting the worst. And that are also the two things that promote or that generate the most money in this world. The evil money is from people running drugs and human smuggling. That's what these cameras were for, and that's what they're doing. So you have this cartels, and you have these people that are doing human smuggling. They're the ones that are out there financing these little groups who go out there and start all this hyperbole and everything else. Now, I understand that, and I understand. I don't want nobody tracking me. But this phone right here, your phone on you, I can promise you when you walk out of here, if you look on your phone on Facebook or something, everything we talked about is going to pop up in an ad. They're already tracking our information. This does not store information on our end. We have to do a search. When we do a search to find somebody, let's just say Mr. Smith he's got a deer camera up. He caught a white Ford truck or a white four-door truck pulled out of his property with his tractor on it. I can type, he doesn't have a license plate, but he has got a good description of the vehicle. We got a partial description of the vehicle. And say there's a dent in the side of that door. I can type into a four-door white truck that passed this camera, and it's going to show me pictures of four-door white trucks that pass that camera at this particular area that we're searching in this 3-day window.
Where's that data being kept?
That data is being kept with Flock. Okay? That is a picture of a license plate and a picture of a truck.
We don't know where Flock is.
No, I don't. I mean,
In the cloud?
it's in the data centers they want to put everywhere. Okay? That's the cloud. These data centers are clouds. That's what they are. So, if we want to do a search, we have to type in, if I want to do a search on, if I got your license plate, you're a suspect, I'm going to type in where this license plate's been for the last 30 days. It's going to show me. It'll show me that, but it doesn't show me who owns it. I still have to use the NCIC, TCIC database. It's not available to the public to look that information up and find out who it is. They do not have facial recognition. Now, you can't even hardly see the faces in the pictures. I can show you some pictures of the pictures that we've got that we use, but I can tell you the Polk County Sheriff called me and said that, had they had it when that little girl was murdered over there, the one that was sex offender got hold of, if they'd have had them in, it would have made a dramatic change in that case.
Well, I think
they did use some of the cameras that they didn't have, but they were other people's cameras that actually helped them in that case later. Okay, I said about the double murder we had out here. We were able to track those people when they took this lady's car to the hotel and dropped it up, to the airport. Dropped it off like she went on a flight, and she didn't when they burned her up in her backyard. We used that. I'll tell you another one. You want to talk about some government corruption? You just saw that you had a city manager over, I think in Hudson or whatever, that was arrested for using a whatever. Flock cameras is what busted.
Well, I'm just glad
Because he was claiming that he went on a trip, he went on a business trip, a city trip, and he sent the city or county or whatever a bill for using his own personal car for mileage. He got reimbursed. And I was like, whoa, we heard that you went to county car. No, I did not. Well, guess what? Type in that last name. These dates that you were asking for reimbursement for mileage, it's sitting right here that you're driving that car back and from this location. So, they have good uses. I'm not going to say they haven't been abused. The people that you're hearing gripe the most, and I'm watching some of the Facebook comments, they're drug dealers. They're people that they don't like police to begin with. Okay? The majority of the people don't have an issue with them. But a lot of people, and I'm not saying a lot of people do, and they have rights to ask questions. I want to know where it's being counted. Okay? I don't like my phone. And I go through there all the time, turning off location data and everything else. Because I don't like it. I don't like to know when I'm sitting home. It does not tell. We own that camera.
Cost extra. Yeah, I don't think.
Now, that camera,
I don't think we're springing.
Can we live without flock cameras? Absolutely. If the majority of the people jump up and says, I don't want that, I ain't gonna buy them no more. I won't do it. But that's not gonna take out the ones the state's already got here. We don't own them, we don't control them, y'all can't say anything about it, and I can't say anything about it. And so DPS has several in this county as well. You'll even see in some places where you got two sitting right side by side. I'm like, what is this? And I do be questioning, why do we have two cameras sitting side by side? Well, then there are other agencies. Why aren't they getting together and talking about it? I don't know. I can't control all that. Now, am I 100% sold on flock? Absolutely not. But I do think they do more harm, more good than they do harm, okay? Because if it was one of your children, or if it was one of your tractors, or some other piece of equipment from the county that got stolen, and I could go in there and search, look for Neil's motor grader going down the road, it's gonna pop on up and say, oh,
I think that's good, but I've been asking
I
by
understand.
public a lot of questions about it, and of course,
So
we had
reach out to us and say, explain it. I have no problem explaining it. I'm not gonna hide it. I'm not making no bones about that it's a good thing, but it's also used for something bad. Those people are prosecuted. In our office, you have to have a case number, you have to have a working case before they can run anybody's license plate, and they're all documented and everything's kept. I only allow my supervisors to operate the flock. The deputies are not allowed to use it on their own. They were in the beginning. We stopped all that since all the hoopla. Now they have to go to a sergeant, get permission from a sergeant. They have to put in a case number, get permission from the sergeant, and then they have to talk about it before we just go running license plates. Now, you gotta understand, those toll cameras at the toll booth do the exact same thing. They've been around for how many years? And this flock camera's been all over the United States for the last 10 years. They just got big, and they just got, some politician got some money in their pocket, but somebody being paid off, I'm sure, and now they've awarded all these millions of dollars in grants. And now they're giving them out to everybody, and it's, again, it's a necessary evil.
There's one laying down in my front yard in my office.
There's one laying out there, because you cut it down?
Somebody did it.
So, yeah, I mean, they're cutting them, they're mowing over, but that's a crime, and that's a state.
I told him not to use that white truck with the demo, because, well, I'm sorry, that's correct.
But there's been several times where those cameras have come in handy, and I can't name all of them, that we've used them for thefts.
We went to a class on that, Tommy and myself did, and it was about a silver car, I still remember, that had a dent. And all those cameras got together and they showed exactly what it is so they can make the arrest.
But they did say, he's
But unless you-
uninvited